Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
Well, hey folks, how's it going? Hope you're all having a wonderful weekend thus far. Thanks for hanging out on this lazy pandemic Saturday night. I hope you're all doing amazing. Bloom's 1212, absolutely aviation. Anybody else is in chat that hasn't chimed in, feel free to drop a quick and big Texas howdy, since we are in the great state of Texas, at least virtually this evening. But I hope you're all doing awesome. Thanks for hanging out today. So despite all my assumptions to the contrary, it turned out that I actually had a bit of time to stream today. Albeit it's going to be a very short stream, so we're not going to have the usual time to do all of our prep work, like flight planning and initiating the FMS and all that stuff that we normally do on stream. So I'm trying to keep this pretty short today if I can, just because I got some other things to get to. But to make up for it, there's a couple things that are going to happen. First of all, in regard to the stream today, part of my motivation to do this was not long after last weekend's stream where we flew to Boca Chica and checked out Microsoft's very rough sort of autogen rendition of the scenery at Boca Chica, right? With some of the sort of renditions that they have of the SpaceX launch complex. It turned out that some amazing mysterious superstar benefactor on flightsim.to named Tan the Man, very appropriately. He is the man. He apparently created this absolutely amazing freeware rendition of the SpaceX Boca Chica launch facility, complete with a model of the SN10, which sadly doesn't yet launch, but I'm hoping that'll be rectified once particle effects come to Microsoft Flight Simulator. But in case you're wondering where to get a copy of that scenery, look up, go hop in the video description, and on YouTube, just hop in my video description and there should be a link to that scenery on flightsim.to. Pick it up. It is a fantastic freeware scenery for where we're going to today. All right, folks, I'm going to hop on Vatsim here, and absolutely, Blooms, anybody that wants to fly along on Vatsim, you're more than welcome to. More than happy to have company today. In case you don't want to fly in Vatsim, if you really want me to hop on multiplayer, and you are apparently ready to go formation flying in a formation flying with a CJ4, if you're up for that, I can hop on multiplayer, so just let me know if that's something you want to do. I suspect that's something not a lot of people want to do, though. Okay, let me show you what I'm up to here. I'm just pulling up Vatsim and the vPilot client. It looks like we got Houston Center and we've got ATIS for Austin. Amazing. Okay, I'm just going to follow my flight plan today. We're going Austin to Brownsville, Texas. Austin identifier is Kilo Alpha Uniform Sierra. The identifier for Brownsville is Kilo Bravo Romeo Oscar. BNDIA 2 departure, BNDIA, ICEMN, Juliet 25, Corpus Christi, on to Brownsville. And cruising at 41,000 feet, cruise speed 450 knots, just under an hour en route. So I'm going to file that flight plan away. John Ceballos, good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for hanging out today. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and hop into the flight deck here, and going to pick up my IFR clearance so we can get going in just a hot minute. Oh boy, we got a low voltage alert. I probably want to go ahead and hook up ground power if I've got it. How do I might need to start an engine here, folks, just so that I don't run the batteries dry. That's the last thing we want, right? Is running the batteries dry. So let's do our checklist here real quick. We'll pick up our IFR clearance once we've started the engines up. So normal checklist before starting engines: battery switch on, emergency lights armed, standby flight display on, avionics dispatch. Parking brake is set. There's the parking brake right there. It's just like a 172. You got this little thing that you pull out, just like in a 172. This is the type commonality, or the type of manufacturer commonality that I think we demand in our Cessnas and Pipers these days, right? Okay, wheel chocks removed, cabin door closed, passenger briefing. We're just gonna assume that's done. Seat belts, pedals. Let's get the seatbelt sign on. Exterior lights required. ICAS, not looking good right now. We've got low voltage on the battery, which is why I want to start the engines. FMS, I've set that already. We'll talk through our flight plan here once I've got the engine started up. And climate control selector off. Young Rich King, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. John, absolutely. Feel free to hop on. Would be more than happy to have you. I'm on Vatsim right now. I haven't signed into a center frequency yet, but I'm going to do that in just a hot minute. If you look for me on any of the Vatsim, spy programs like VatSpy, SimAware, etc., you can probably pull up my flight plan in case you missed that while I was talking about it earlier. Okay, climate control selector off, and let's go ahead and start up our engines, folks. I don't want to run the batteries dry while I'm blabbing away here. Okay, oops, not that. Okay, starting the right engine, and we'll just let the FADEC take over at this point and start up the right engine. So we got N2 coming up. We got N1 coming up. We got oil pressure. Just waiting on a light off. There's ignition. Nice, that's enunciated now in the latest WorkingTitle CJ4 mod, so that's fantastic. Oh, by the way, the other motivation for the stream was I haven't had a chance yet to fly the latest iteration of the WorkingTitle CJ4 mod, and they've actually incorporated missed approaches and holes, so I'm really looking forward to trying that out. There's a pretty neat RNAV approach into Brownsville, Texas, that actually takes us across the border into Mexico before bringing us back north to Brownsville, South Padre. So we're going to try an RNAV approach with a missed approach procedure and a hold, and I want to see how well that's modeled in this airplane before we actually land and check out the scenery later, right? Okay, good start there. Engine is stabilizing. Let's go ahead and start up the other engine as well, why don't we? Starting left engine, run, close the button guard, and let's watch number 1 kick up here. N2 coming up, N1, we got oil pressure, and we're just gonna monitor this a lot more closely. Ignition, just gonna watch for ITT rise. Starter uninitiated there on the ICAS. There's ITT coming up, past 200 degrees. N1 coming up in a hurry there. All right, I love the FADEC modeling that they've done at the WorkingTitle team. Okay, there we go. Should be stabilizing here in just a hot minute, hopefully. There we go. All right. Starter cut out, and that's stabilizing. Let's go back to the checklist here and just check all these items off. External power disconnected. Electrical system. We got good amps and volts. Batteries charging. That's the most important part here because I was worried about that. Okay, let's get the avionics switched on. And now we got a bit more time here to pick up our clearance and all that stuff. Absolutely awesome. That is great to hear that you picked up that honeycomb throttle. I hope you enjoy your time with that thing, my friend. All right, folks. I need to figure out who the hell to contact, because there's 2 Houston Center frequencies. I suspect we're going to be on 134.42, if I'm not mistaken. Let's find out here. What is Houston Center for us? I don't know. We'll find out. I'm going to contact 134.42. Whoops, landing gear. No, come on, back down. The problem with this simulator is this. In order to zoom in and out, you got to scroll on the mouse. But if you scroll with the mouse over the landing gear, that moves the landing gear handle up. So just like that, this has become a no failures anticipated stream. Okay, I'm going to tune in 134.425. There we go. And let's put that in COM1, and let's pick up the ATIS at Austin here. Okay, ATIS at Austin is information delta. Let me show you what that is.
Center Delta 2824 back.
And actually, one second, folks.
2824, welcome back.
I'm just going to switch some chill music here. Let me know if the music in the background is too loud, too low, and I can adjust it accordingly. Whoa, what's going on? Okay, there we go. Desktop capture scene. Okay, this is the ATIS at Austin. Information delta current, winds out of the north, 350 to 8 knots, visibility 10 statute miles, clear skies, temperature 13, dew point 02, altimeter 3001. departing runway 35 right, that's perfect, because 35 right is right over there. So we're at the FBO here, so that works out nicely for us. Mode C on all surface area, squawk mode Charlie, and we've got Delta. Okay, that's great. Let's go ahead and call them up, and we'll request our clearance here. My call sign is Citation 321 Charlie Alpha. We're going to Brownsville, South Padre Island, via the BNDIA 2. And yeah, let's see if they're controlling for Austin first of all.
Is that for United 336?
Yeah, it's 336, affirmative, New Orleans approach 125.5.
125.5 for United 336, yeah.
Delta 2824, contact Jacksonville.
Just gotta wait a moment here to get a word in edgewise. There's stuff happening on frequency, obviously.
Okay, 3592, Delta 2824.
Might as well go continue through the checklist here while we wait for a break. Okay, there we go. Houston Center, hello. Citation 321 Charlie Alpha, we're on the ground at Austin. Are you controlling for Austin?
Number 321 Charlie Alpha, I'm not, but the other guy is. You can contact Houston 126.905 for your clearance.
26.905, thank you. Okay, we're 26.905. Wouldn't that be utterly appropriate today, given our luck, right? Oops, not 122.8. It's actually 126.905.
And Center Easy 360s.
Wouldn't that be exactly what you'd expect? Our first guess was not the right guess. So it's 126.905, so we'll contact him here. All right. Houston Center, hello. Citation 321 Charlie Alpha. We're on the ground at Austin with Delta. We're looking for IFR to Brownsville.
Citation 321 Charlie Alpha, Houston Center. Hello, cleared to the Brownsville Airport via the BNDIA 2 departure. BNDIA then is filed. Climb and maintain 4,000. Expect flight level 410, 1 minutes after departure. Departure frequency with me, squawk 2416.
Cleared at Brownsville with the BNDIA 2 departure. BNDIA then is filed. Climb maintain 4,000. We'll expect flight level 410, 10 minutes after departure with you, and we'll be squawking 2416 for 321 Charlie Alpha.
November 321 Charlie Alpha, read back correct. Push and start your discretion. Call for taxi. Expect 35 right.
35 right. We'll call for taxi. Thank you. Okay, let's just put this in the squawk here. 2416 in the squawk. Departure is going to be our current frequency, 126.905, and let's go ahead and continue through the checklist here, and we'll brief our departure procedure and all that stuff, and talk about our flight plan. Did things in reverse order here, obviously, because we were running low on battery power, because I had the battery running without the ground card connected. I haven't quite figured out how to finagle that in MSFS just yet, so that's why we did things a bit in reverse order today. Okay, passenger light safety button can be turned on. That's down here. There we go. Little ding there for you to get the passenger's attention. Trims checked and set. Usually I set my trims kind of towards the lower end, the upper end rather, of the elevator trim band there in green. So that's set. Flight controls. Let's go ahead and do a quick flight control check here. Where's the... Actually, let's just do it in the outside view. Full left on the aileron, full right on the aileron, full up, full down in the elevator, and full right, left and full right on the rudder pedals. And let's go ahead and check the spoiler system here. We'll check the speed brake first. Extends on both the... There's panels that extend on both the upper and lower surface of the wings. And then we'll go to the ground spoiler position, which extends all 4 panels on the upper surface. That's working beautifully. Okay, great. Let's hop back here, and let's go ahead and check that box off. And that box off, and let's set flaps 15 for takeoff. V-speeds today, 100, 101, 114 on the V1 rotate and V2. We're gonna retract flaps at V2 plus 20 roundabouts, about 134. VT threshold crossing is 140, so we got all that. And before taxi, let's go ahead and check our hydraulic pressure here. 3,000 psi both sides, that's great. Engine anti-ice is required, not required today. Pedostatics can be turned on right now. Takeoff data confirmed and set. Avionics checked and set. autopilot engage disconnect. We're just going to disregard that. Altimeters,
Autopilot wasn't set to stop at
I need to set 3001 local altimeter setting.
There's 685, Roger. Victoria,
There we go.
12 o'clock approximately.
And
1.5 miles
pressurization.
towards field of sight.
I'm not sure that's modeled, but I'm just going to assume that's good.
Partner 625.
ICAS checked, app divider door lashed open before taxi check is complete. All right, folks,
Wind 3508,
let's go
runway
back to the
35 right,
legs
clear
pitch here.
Last
And
35 right, southwest 795. Sorry, I thought it was for me.
wind. Oh, no, you're fine.
let's see, is anybody
Yeah.
flying along? I don't see anybody just yet, so maybe not. It's no problem, it's just us today.
So the Austin
It's all
altimeter
good.
is 3001.
The one thing I wanted to do, by the way, I wanted
we
to
got it.
set
Thank you.
my altitude selector here to 4,000. Kind of a big deal. And I'm going to arm a couple of autopilot modes here. I'm going to arm the nav mode, and I'm going to arm the flight level change mode at a speed of 240 for now. We'll just hand fly it until we get close enough to 240 where I feel comfortable letting the autopilot take over in the modes I have armed right now. Sim crashed. Oh, no worries at all there. Absolutely, it's all good. We've got plenty of time because I think you know what's up with this channel. What's up with this channel is I promise I'm going to take a very short amount of time and then end up taking far too much time to do things. I promised you a departure briefing. Let's do our departure briefing before we forget that. So I got to mirror my iPad on screen, so let me go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, iPad being mirrored. Come on. Let's mirror my iPad, please. Yes, there we go. Okay, iPad is mirrored. Now I got to actually show you what I've got mirrored on screen, so give me a second to do that. Alright, just got to pull that up on screen. Hopefully y'all can see it. Hopefully y'all can see what's on my iPad. So let's talk about our flight plan first, right? We're going from... So, geography lesson first. Once again, this, for those of you who may not be aware of this is the United States. The proud nation of the United States. And within the United States, there is this smaller portion of the United States that's also a very, very proud nation, the Lone Star State of Texas. For all intents and purposes, Texas considers itself an independent country, but that has not been verified by any treaties with the other states in the Federation or the Republic of the United States, right? So as far as I know, Texas only considers itself unofficially as an independent nation. Anyway, we're going from Austin. Austin, as some of you probably were getting the hint from the intro to the stream, from the awesome music selection, at least within the limits of YouTube copyright strikes or avoiding YouTube copyright strikes and all that stuff. As some of you could probably tell, I was trying to allude to the fact that Austin is considered the live music capital of the planet. Some of the greatest bands in the United States come from right here in Austin, Texas. And in fact, there's a whole fantastic history behind the whole keeping Austin weird, slogan that you've probably heard of. But anyway, we're going to go from Austin, live music capital of the world, down to Brownsville, Texas, where SpaceX has a pretty awesome launch complex for their Starship program pretty close to Brownsville, Texas, just about 20 to 30 miles to the east there. So our route of flight today will take us over San Antonio, Texas, then down to Corpus Christi, and then Corpus Christi along the southern coast of Texas, down to Brownsville South Padre International Airport. And we're going to have some beautiful views of all the barrier islands from Corpus Christi down to Brownsville today, if you're lucky. I'm hoping that we do get some spectacular views. We'll see what the weather is doing as we get closer. Let's talk about our taxi route today. We're located at the FBO here. Hey Kyle, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. So we're located at the FBO here. We're going to taxi at a whole short of 35 right, quite likely via via Kilo, and then either Bravo or Alpha, depending on what Houston Center is in the mood for. It's a whole short of 35 right for departure. During the departure, any malfunctions before we one, as usual, we're going to gently massage these extremely powerful carbon brakes into cooperating with us and bringing us to a stop on the runway. Then we can advise ATC of any issues you might be having. Any malfunctions after we one, we're going to deal with the problem in the air and hope to God that we don't muck it up royally. Pending that, we've got the BNDIA 2 departure today. Off of 35 right, procedures to climb on heading of 355 degrees, or is assigned by ATC for radar vectors to cross the GARS fix at or above 5,000 feet. Top altitude for us, as assigned by ATC today, it's 4,000. That's our altitude that we put in the altitude selector box there. That's good. Let's see. This SID does have standard takeoff minimums with minimum climb of 240 feet per nautical mile to 2,600 off of the 35s today.
Potential aircraft Houston Center will be right back.
Radar required, RNAV 1 required, DME, IRU, or GPS required. Okay, we satisfy the requirements for using this SID. I think we've got it all figured out, folks. Awesome, that's our departure brief. Let's go ahead and hide the iPad away, and we'll get going here in just a hot minute. Just going to stop mirroring my iPad, save some precious computer resources here so that we have as close to a stutter-free experience as possible, right? And let's start the elapsed time counter there. There we go. Awesome. I do want to set my heading bug to 355, just so we have that. Oops. That's our initial heading on the departure. 355 is set. John, no worries. I'm going to look for you here in just a hot second there, John. I'm going to look for you in just a hot second. Okay, there's John Ceballos. Oh my god, look at that fantastic livery he's sporting. How do you get your hands on that livery? I don't think I even have that in my portfolio of liveries. That is a cool looking livery there that John is sporting. By the way, I figured, I'm sorry, I'm kind of nerding out here obviously, but I figured since we're heading down to a launch facility, we had to do the NASA livery today. They don't operate CJ4s in real life. I think they operate a G2, and I'm not sure if they operate a G4 these days or what, but they definitely operated a G2 for a while. And that's the extent of my knowledge regarding NASA's business jet fleet, which they actually use primarily for, astronaut transport, occasional VIP transport, but primarily astronaut training from what I know. Folks, one thing I'm going to do here actually, I wanted preferably to arrive in Boca Chica right around sunrise, so I'm actually going to change the time of day here to be about an hour earlier, okay? I hope you don't mind. We're going to take off in the dark, but I think it's going to give us a beautiful sunrise, if everybody's cool with it, over Boca Chica and Corpus Christi later. That's my hope anyway. I'm just going to adjust the lighting inside here so that we're not getting washed out, or we're not just being blinded by the brightness that displays here. Okay, that's looking good. And let me know in case people don't like the lighting, and what I can do is I can adjust it so that it's a little better. You're cool with it, says Young Rich King. All right, that's what I like to hear. Although, no, seriously, honestly, if people don't like it, and I know I usually avoid doing streams, where the sim time is set late at night because it's not very interesting for the viewers. But, so if anybody has a problem with it, feel free to speak up. I have no problems changing it back and changing it on the fly, so to speak. But I think it'd give us a really nice sunrise over the Gulf later. All right, John, did you pick up your clearance? Are we ready to go? I hope we are. All right, I'm going to request my taxi clearance in that case, and we'll get going. Does anybody remember if, because I know Center said they had to hop offline for a moment. Does anybody remember if Center hop?
Central Aircraft ATIS information Echo is now current at Houston, correction, at Austin.
Okay, we got ATIS information Echo at Austin. Let's take a look. 350 at 9 knots now are the winds.
And Houston's back.
Winds still, correction, winds are now 350 at 9. Visibility still 10 statute miles, still clear skies. Altimeter is now 3002, so I'm going to set 3002 there in the altimeter. Okay, 3002 set. Okay, there we go. And let's go ahead and pick up our taxi's clearance here. So taxi light can be turned on. We'll blind the guy that should not be standing there anyway. Let's pull up our checklist. Exterior lights as required. Brakes, we'll do that here in a second actually. Houston, citation 321 Charlie Alpha. We're ready for taxi at Austin. and we've got echo.
Citation 321 Charlie Alpha, runway 35 right, taxi via Bravo.
Taxi via Bravo for citation 321 Charlie Alpha, hold short of 35 right. Okay, let's go ahead and release that parking brake. Once again, the parking brake is right here. It's this little handle that looks like the parking brake handle on a Cessna 172. Perfect. Honestly, with that parking handle, you feel almost like you're just ready for that citation CJ4 type rating, right? Hey, I know how the parking brake works. It's just like in a 172. Okay, let's continue through the checklist here. We'll hang a left here on Kilo, hop on a Bravo. We'll take Bravo all the way down to hold short 35 right. Okay, parking brake released. Just continuing through the checklist here. Brakes checked, brake check, there we go, that's good. Nose wheel steering seems to work. Flight control or flight instruments checked, that's all looking good. And we'll do our before takeoff checklist. You guessed it, before takeoff. All right. Oh no, absolutely, I'm sorry to hear that. Absolutely says you think it's a working title mod. That's interesting, absolutely. I've never had that issue. Absolutely try something. Try the working title mod without any other liveries. Just use the default livery and see if that fixes your issue. Because I know there can be a conflict with the working title mod when you have downloaded liveries that have a panel folder included. So I don't know if that's what your issue is. For all I know, you might have just been using the default livery. But try it that way if you haven't, just using the default livery, and see if that fixes your issue. I haven't had any problems, thankfully, with the working title mod and crashes. So it could be something else too. It could be a conflicting mod. Ray, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you, my friend. Ray, I think we're going to be singing your song during the stream, my friend. We're headed down to check out a fantastic freeware scenery package that covers some of the sorts of things that make us virtual Texas tank watchers very, very, very happy. So we're going to see a ton of that later. But first, we actually got to make it down to Brownsville stop Padre International, and I got to find a way to stop, or I got to find a way to shorten all the stuff that I want to get in today, like an RNAV approach and a missed approach procedure and a hold, because I want to try out all those features of the new working title mod. But once we get done with that, I promise you there will be eye candy, some amazing freeware Starship eye candy, and all the good stuff that I know most of you are here for. Okay, we're going to hold short of through 5 right here, and let's do our before takeoff checklist real quick. By the way, I didn't miss a radio call, did I? I hope I didn't. This is what happens when you talk too much. Anyway, or this is what happens when I talk too much. Eyes protection system checked. Rudder bias system, I don't know if that's modeled. Seat belts or seats upright and outboard, that's all good. Flaps checked and set 15 degrees. Speed brakes are at 0%, confirmed, yep. Trims 3 set. Lower or the upper range of the green band there, that's good. Crew briefing. Crew briefing for me essentially consists of, well, we did our departure briefing, but passenger briefing for me consists of tilting my head around, looking back here, and yelling, "Hey fellers, we're taking off," and that's it. so that's our passenger briefing completed. TCAS to TARA. Let's just make sure we're squawking Charlie there. Whoops, tune. Let me hide that away. Sorry, I can't hide the text messages that come in from Vatsim, unfortunately. That just pops up on screen, and if anybody knows a way to turn that off, let me know. Squawking 2416, departure 126.905, we're all good there.
So 1031 Houston Center.
Radar is required. Go around button, push. You know what? That's modeled. We're going to be using that during the. We're definitely going to be using that during the departure later. Or not during the departure. We're definitely going to be using the go around button during the missed approach later. But I'm going to not use that for now, because that gets rid rather of all the autopilot modes I have armed. But we're definitely going to use that later. Battery amps verified 20 or less, we're all good there. Pitot static heat buttons are on. Exterior lights as required. We'll go lights, camera, action once we get our takeoff clearance. ICAS checked. We're all good there. And for takeoff, trials takeoff, N1 command box, green chevron. I don't think that's modeled yet. Brakes released, and control wheel will rotate at VR. That's all good. And we'll do our after takeoff checklist. You guessed it, after takeoff.
United 1031, same Mach number.
All right, folks. Kyle Longley, I am not in multiplayer, but I am on Vatsim if anybody wants to fly along. For once, we've actually got Houston Center online, so I wanted to take advantage of that. We even have, like, was it Mexico City Center? We had, who was this? 1 second. We have Monterey Center online as well.
34 Houston Center, hello. Radar contact, do you have the Link 1 arrival on board?
So, it's kind of rare to see all these centers lit up on VATSPY, right? So I figured let's take advantage of it to do a little bit of flying on Vatsim tonight. Absolutely, you guys are more than welcome to. I'm going to be executing a missed approach at Brownsville later, so you guys will have plenty of time to catch up. In fact, I'll probably be required to stay in the hold a bit longer, probably to accommodate the rest of you landing, which will be fun. It'll be fun. All right, let's see. What did I miss here, folks? I'm sorry. I know I probably missed something.
United 3040 at the Link 1 arrival on board.
Yeah, Young Rich King might have it right there. Let me call up Houston, let them know we're ready for takeoff here. Houston, citation 321 Charlie Alpha. We're short of 25 right. Oh, correction, 35 right. Ready for departure.
Citation 321 Charlie Alpha, stand by.
Okay. Oh. You didn't see that. You didn't see that. You didn't see that. That button had the blue light the whole time, right? That button had the blue light the whole time.
United 34, Roger.
None of you saw that.
Mullet,
None of you saw that.
Arrival, maintain flight level 350.
Oh boy. Beacon light was not on for the start.
Reduce speed, maintain Mach 0.72.
In my defense, though, the battery was running dry. I figured let's leave the beacon off so we don't lose any more battery charge while we're starting up the engines. Okay, just waiting on our takeoff clearance here from Houston Center. Boy, I gotta tell you, when you come back from flying IRL to flying in Vatsim, it's so hard to getting used to saying things like, I'm getting ready to get my takeoff clearance here from Center. That never happens IRL, at least where I fly. Usually it's Tower that gives you your takeoff clearance. And even if you're flying IFR, you might get your release from an approach controller. I'm sure for folks that fly way out in the middle of nowhere, there's probably a center controller
1031, change to my frequency,
that might do that. Or you just call them up to let them know. Ray says you'll probably join in here in a minute. Absolutely, Ray. You're more than welcome to. Would be always awesome to have the company. I don't know what's going on with Center here. I'm standing by on my takeoff clearance. And actually, folks, give me a second here. We got plenty of fuel.
Change to my frequency.
Got plenty of fuel. That's good. It's always a good idea to carry extra fuel, especially when you're streaming, right? Because in my case, I tend to talk a lot, and as a result, you can end up burning through a lot of fuel before you ever get to the whole short line. Night Shadow, aloha to you, Night Shadow. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. How was live treating you there, Night Shadow?
November 321 Charlie Alpha, change to my frequency 134.42.
3442, 321 Charlie Alpha. Okay. 13442.
707, change to my frequency 134.42.
Oh, there it is. Actually, I've already got it. So we're just going to swap that.
134.4.
Houston, citation 321 Charlie Alpha. We're checking in and we're ready for departure 35 right.
Citation 321 Charlie Alpha. Houston, hello. On departure flight, runway heading Austin, winds 3509 and runway 35 right, clear for takeoff.
Runway heading on departure, clear for takeoff, 35 right for citation 321, Charlie Alpha, thank you. Folks, let me know in case the background, the music that's supposed to help us chill out is actually making us not chill, and I can turn that down. I never get a good idea of just how loud or not loud it is. Okay, lights, camera, action here. We're squawking mode, Charlie.
Yeah, 1031.
We've got our landing lights on, our strobes on.
And United
And we're ready to go here. Okay, we're gonna fly runway heading on departure. So I'm actually gonna arm the heading mode on the autopilot now instead of nav mode. That's great to hear there, Night Shadow. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, let's line up on 35 right here, and we're just gonna depart.
Yeah, you are. We're in the middle of a controller change at the moment.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Okay, we're lined up. Just going to advance the throttles here, watch for the engines to stabilize, and then we'll advance the throttles to the takeoff detent. There's takeoff lit up in green there on the N1 gauges. Airspeed alive, 80 knots.
9,000 up.
There's V1 rotating.
That's 4761.
There's positive rate, gear coming up. And there's V2 plus 20, flaps coming up. There's VT. Let's go ahead and continue climbing out here at about 15 degrees pitch up until we're at about 1,500 feet, and then we'll pitch down and continue on this heading as instructed. There's 1,500 feet approximately. Let's go ahead and go to the climb thrust, or climb detent on the thrust levers, and let's go ahead and lower the nose, and we'll climb up to 4,000 feet. All right, awesome, folks. Look at this.
And Martiner 685 vacated 31 right onto Charlie.
Martiner 685, taxi straight ahead, Charlie. Cross,
okay, let's get the yaw damper on, and we'll get the autopilot on as well, just to help us out.
Cross 31 left.
There we go.
It was a pleasure, Martiner 685.
Okay, coming up on 4,000, we're going to level off at 4,000 there. I want to make sure I back off the throttle as we come up on 240 knots there, so I don't exceed 240, 250 knots in the climb. All right. Night Shadow, I'm going to answer that question in excruciating detail in just a hot minute here, because I want to talk about this freeware. This is a freeware mod, Night Shadow. I'm going to talk all about it in just a hot minute here. Okay, there we go. Leveling off at 4,000. Just going to back off the throttle to maintain 250 knots. There we go. Okay, let's do our after takeoff checklist here. Landing gear up, flaps up, throttles. Right now it's not in the climb detent, but we'll set in the climb detent once we get higher. Yaw damper is on. Autopilot as desired. Eye protection is desired. Passenger lights will take care of that here in just a second. Lights, the beautiful city of Austin over there. This is a great town, by the way, to visit. If you make it out of Texas, you gotta visit Austin.
Delta 4761. Is it alright if we go ahead?
Such a fun town.
Go to the bathroom real quick.
Delta 4761, that's approved, report back.
And they're not kidding about the live, or they're not kidding about the music scene.
Contact altitude.
321 Charlie Alpha is level at 4,000.
November 321 Charlie Alpha, thanks. Clear direct. Guards, climb and maintain flight level 410.
Direct guards, climb and maintain 410, citation 321 Charlie Alpha, thank you much. Okay, direct guards, so let's go ahead and go direct guards first. So direct guards is direct guards, execute, and let's go ahead and go into the nav mode of the autopilot. And I'm going to go ahead and reset my altitude selector here to 410. And let's go into flight level change mode there. We'll climb out, we'll put the thrust levers in the climb detent, there we go. And we'll go into flight level change mode, and we'll climb out at 240 knots up to flight level 410. Okay, there we go. Flight level 410 tuned in. And LNAV 1, autopilot, flight level change, 240 knots, alt cell. Awesome. Airplane is doing exactly what I wanted to do. That is amazing. Okay, there we go. We're going direct guards. I'm just going to zoom out of the map here a little bit so you can see where we are in relation to stuff. And, you know, one of the things I don't want this to do is heat seek for guards, so I'm just going to go direct guards again just to make it a bit easier in the autopilot. There we go, that's better.
And
Perfect.
7120, just verify that you have the equipment for a very low visibility landing in New Orleans.
Okay. Very low visibility landing in New Orleans. Oh no. Okay. So there is Austin Bergstrom International over there. You see the parallel runways. My God, everything is bigger in Texas. Look at the size of that airport. You know, it's so spread out. And let's see if you can spot the city of Austin. It's down there somewhere.
24.5.
I think it's down there. I think I can make out sort of the warning lights on top of the buildings, but I'm not sure. It's down there somewhere. The city itself, I think, is like west of the airport, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I mean,
can't really spot it.
I'd say at least 20 minutes.
Anyway, there's 10,000 feet there. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and turn off the landing lights, turn off the seatbelts sign, and we're continuing to climb out at 240 knots. Passenger light button as required, landing lights button off. Pressurization, I'm not sure that's modeled just yet. All I can see is the oxygen pressure, so I'm just going to assume that's working. Altimeters right now 3002. We're going to reset 29902 standard, obviously, above transition altitude 18,000 feet. So that's all looking good. All right, folks, let's go ahead and hide that away. After takeoff, checklist complete. Climbing to 13,700 feet there, climbing up to 41,000 feet. Let's go to the progress page here.
And publish speeds at link.
1 second. Index, progress. There we go. Great. Okay, we've got another less than an hour. It says an hour and 16 minutes. That's going to be less once we get our clearance direct to the fix that takes us onto the RNAV 31. So it's going to be less than an hour at this point. Disregard what it says there. That's going to significantly reduce as we get higher. That's based off our current ground speed, not our ground speed, obviously, at altitude. And right now, we're also dealing with a slight slight headwind component from the winds up at altitude. Okay, let's see if you can spot the city of Austin down there. It's down there somewhere. We should be right over it. There it is. You see the river down there? And you can sort of make out the buildings of the city of Austin down there.
You're at 34. Just verify you're going,
all right.
You're going direct.
Say goodbye to Austin, folks. Live music capital of the world, as it's known. There's 18,000 feet, transition, set standard. There we go. And yeah, we're all good.
Uniform Lima Lima Tango.
All right, folks, I'm going to catch up on chat here. Night Shadow, I want to get back to your question, but Kyle, just going to answer your question. I need to figure out what we're going to do. Depends on how much time I have left at the end of the stream. Today was really, really impromptu. I actually wasn't planning on streaming tonight. And I just got some time. I wanted to try and keep the stream below 2 hours if possible, but I don't think that's going to work out. I'm not sure that's going to work out. So it depends on what I'm in the mood for, whether I have time. If we can't actually fly around the launch complex, what I'm going to do is just go into the drone camera after we land at Boca Chica, or after we land at Brownsville. I'm just going to hop in the drone camera and show you guys all the sites. So it depends on what we have time for. If we have time, and I'm not sure I can commit to this just yet, if we have time, I'm going to hop in the Waco once again, and we'll do some flying just the way we did on Sunday, except now you'll actually get to see the Starship model and all that stuff that's in the super cool freeware scenery.
Yes, sir. Brownsville, sorry.
Oh man, sorry about that. Absolutely, that sucks.
Number 1483. You left me on red. All right. Clear to the Brownsville Airport via the BNDIA.
Night Shadow. Okay, coming back to you, Night Shadow. I'm going to see if I can pull up the WorkingTitle mod website. Night Shadow, WorkingTitle. Just to give you some background here, they are a team like a freeware development team that have started modding the default CJ4 from Microsoft. So the default CJ4 obviously was very, very limited. Essentially, it was like an RC airplane. Microsoft didn't really model an actual citation. They just modeled some RC airplane with a really fancy looking exterior and a relatively good-looking interior as well. To be fair to them. But WorkingTitle, it's a team composed of a bunch of folks, with some of whom include real-world CJ4 pilots, folks with real-world experience working on the CJ4, either flying it or working on it in some other capacity, and they have significantly improved a lot of the systems depth of this airplane. So now the autopilot works mostly as intended. The FMS is incredibly detailed. All the nearly all the pages in the FMS work the way they're supposed to. For instance, you can do holes, missed approaches, a lot of very detailed things that you need the FMS to do. It can now do just the way it does in the real CJ4. There are still some things they're working on. Obviously there's a long way to go before it's a full study level freeware mod the way the Zibo is in X-Plane 11, but it's a long way in terms of its progress towards being comparable to Zibo in my opinion. It's incredibly good. Another thing that they've done, the default CJ4 did not have the FADEX system modeled. In real life, the CJ4 has a full FADEX system. So you see there's a couple of detents there. There's a climb detent and a takeoff detent. It looks like there's a cruise detent. There's really no cruise detent. The detents are in the middle of these yellow cream bar, the lit bars there. The detents are in the middle. So right now we're in the climb detent. There's also the takeoff detent that's modeled. And in those detents, what happens is that the airplane, the FADEX system automatically modulates our thrust as we get higher, in accordance with more or less what the actual CJ4 engines do in real life, which is super cool. And more or less the same thing in the takeoff detent as well. Did I miss a radio call there? I hope I did not.
Houston Center,
nope, I did not, thankfully. But so the FADEX system is also modeled, and obviously there's no auto throttle, so the FADEX system does what it needs to do during the climb and during the takeoff, but in cruise, I got to control the throttles manually and set cruise power. And what else does it have? It has a lot of the systems pages, right? Or a lot of the MFD and PFD pages. Like I can control different map modes. I can put, various overlays, things like that. I can set my ref speeds. I can set my minimums. There's a lot of very, very detailed things that they've somehow managed to incorporate into the default CJ4. So I'm going to see if I can find you a link to it. Actually, Night Shadow, just look up the description of my video. So directly below the video you're watching right now, the description should pop up, right? If you scroll down, the link to the WorkingTitle mod is there. And also, they have a fantastic Discord where they talk about all the things they're working on. I would strongly recommend checking out that Discord. And the other thing it does, by the way, as we climb, the typical climb schedule in the real-life CJ4 is 240 knots. It's kind of a slow airplane in climb, but it's 240 knots until Mach 0.64, and then you climb out at Mach 0.64. You see what it did? The autopilot, without me doing anything, automatically switched from IAS hole mode or IAS mode in climb to Mach mode in climb. So now it's maintaining Mach 0.64 in the climb. That's super cool. And if you look super close at the N1 setting, by the way, you'll notice it changes as we get higher. And that's not me doing anything. That's the FADEC that they've modeled doing all that stuff for you. So that's super cool. Anyway, there you go, Night Shadow. Kind of a long-winded answer, just as you might expect for a DJ Aviator stream, but hopefully you've gotten your fill of everything you want to know about the CJ4, at least from DJ, right? Evidence, please. How's it going? Good to see you, Evidence. Indeed, I am, Evans. Did I miss something? What do you mean when you ask if I'm back? Oh, do you mean like am I back earlier than I thought? Yes, so this stream was kind of impromptu. And I want to keep it as short and as sweet as possible, but I don't think I'll have that luck. We might actually do a super early morning stream tomorrow, early morning Pacific time, like maybe around 8 or 9 a.m. Pacific. I've got some things going on, obviously, later on in the morning and the afternoon. The weather is just beautiful in my part of the world this weekend, so I want to take advantage of that. But early in the morning tomorrow, we might do some challenging approaches in the PMDG 747 at Kitech. Nothing but challenging approaches, you know, just various weather conditions, things like that. So hopefully some of you are up for that tomorrow. That should be fun. We'll see how that goes. I need to schedule that stream as well. Okay, we're climbing through flight level 374 there, and we're climbing up to flight level 410.
143,
And by the way, in case you're wondering when we're going to hit our top of climb, you look at the map there. You see that little banana? There's a little white banana, very tiny little white banana there. It's a little arced line right over BNDIA, right over the magenta fix marker there. That is when we hit our top of climb. So we'll hit our top of climb right about the time we get to BNDIA. Perfect. All right, folks. And look at that. We got sunrise a little earlier than I anticipated during the stream, but that's fine. That looks great. All right, folks, let me catch up on chat here. Yeah, there you go. Evidence Please has, yeah, exactly like Evidence Please said in my chat. It's that simple. Just chuck it into your community folder. Whenever you get an update though, Night Shadow, and they publish updates very, very frequently, whenever you get an update, make sure to delete the current working title folder in your community. You know, whatever the current working title folder is that you installed, make sure to delete that before you install the new update. But it's very, very straightforward, and it works beautifully. Yes, Evidence Please. I totally agree with that. This, I feel very, very frankly that it's pretty much already at that borderline of a study level aircraft. You know, honestly. And let me explain to you at least my view of study level. Study level, in my opinion, is an aircraft that prompts me to go hunting for the POH or the AFM or the FCOM. And reference that instead of using the actual document, or reference that more than the documentation that comes with the add-on, if that makes sense. That's what study level means for me, for the most part, you know. So this is one of those aircraft that prompts me to desperately go digging around the internet and the darkest corners of the internet to try and find a CJ4 POH. That's how good it is. It's really, really good. It's incredibly detailed. Oh boy, I hope I didn't miss a call again. No, I did not. I did not, thankfully. Or maybe I did. I don't know. I'm always confused whether or not I missed a radio call. Okay, there we are. We're at our cruising altitude there of 410. We're going to accelerate. And you know what? We're flying a business jet today. And what do you do when you're looking for a cruise speed in a business jet? You go as fast as the folks in back insist we go, right? So essentially what I'm looking for is I'm looking for cruising pretty much at or close to red line there. So at this point, right, what I'm going to do, so thrust levers were in the climb detent, right? I'm going to take the thrust levers out of the climb detent, and I'm going to go to about, you know, let's say about 99.5%, something like that. I just want to pick up as much speed as possible, and I'm going to cruise maybe just, you know, a couple to 5 knots shy of red line. Red line is about 240 indicated, so I'm going to cruise just about 5 knots shy of that, like as close to that red line as I can get it. And that's apparently how fast corporate pilots go. At least from everything I've seen. All right, folks. Yes, there you go. I'm glad Evidence Please agrees with that. All right, let me see what I missed here. Ray says Falcon nav data is messed up. You're moving to the Phenom 300. Oh, yikes there, Rays. Rays, are you talking about the Carenado or the flightsim in P3D? Yes, Rays, we totally heard about the misadventures. Actually, you know what? I know a lot of people give SpaceX, and I know you're not one of them, Ray, because I know you're a huge SpaceX fan as well. I know a lot of people are giving grief to SpaceX for botching another landing, but I thought it was a spectacular success. I mean, it really is amazing what they're doing, you know, and take this from a real-life credentialed rocket scientist, you know, like I literally have an aerospace engineering degree. What they are doing is beyond anything that has ever been accomplished. It is amazing what they've accomplished, and I'm willing to bet if it's not the next SN model, right? If it's not SN10, if it's not SN11, by the time SN15 rolls around, I think they'll be nailing those landings, no problem. It really is amazing what they've accomplished. All right. Okay, there's the cruise speed that I'm looking for. I'm going to back off the throttles there just a little bit until I see the...
What about that altimeter?
Until I see the speed tape doing what I want it to do. Right now we're cruising at Mach 0.76. We're burning... wow, since we're cruising so high, right? We're cruising up at flight level 410. We're burning just 540 pounds per side, so that's amazing. We're currently carrying 3,000 pounds of fuel, so by the time we land in...
I'm glad you're configured for landing. Wind 3509 or runway 35 right, clear to land.
Oh my god, that was some serious shade there. That was some serious... That was some hilarious controller shade there. I'm glad you're configured for landing.
Southwest 2927 will descend.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to laugh at other pilots on Vatsim, I know, but that was some... I'm not laughing at the other pilot, I'm laughing at what the controller said, because that was some serious controller shade there. Oh my god, that was good. I needed that today. 540 pounds per side. I'm just going to back off the throttles there just a little bit.
Yep, go to Lima Alpha.
Ray says Carenado. Ray's, I've actually got the Carenado Phenom 100. It's not that bad, all things considered. You know, it is Carenado, don't get me wrong. I've never been a big Carenado fan. And honestly, the more I fly the Waco in MSFS, the more disappointed I get.
Stand by. United 1031 contact, Houston approach 119.1.
But it's not bad, you know, it's not that bad. Especially if you're looking to just hop in something and do a quick flight without a whole ton of like pre-flight prep and things like that. It's not bad at all.
Contact, Houston approach 119.1.
Okay, look at that. We've just got a short 34 minutes to go before we land in Brownsville today. So we're going to be there in no time at all, folks. Bloom says watching SpaceX land at the same time a couple of years back absolutely blew your mind. Totally Blooms. By the way, out of curiosity, how many folks were on our stream on Sunday when I pulled out Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator and did a simulation, or ran a simulation, of the Falcon Heavy dual booster landing at the same time. And also we ran a simulation of SN8 launching and doing the flip over and the skydive and then the landing burn as well. How many of you were on that stream on Sunday when we did that? Because I'm wondering if folks want to see that again tonight. I would be more than happy to run it again. And for those of you who haven't heard of Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator, let me know. I would be happy to tell you all about it. For those of you that are fans of freeware, Orbiter is amazing because the entire simulator is free, and it is an incredibly detailed educational simulation of orbital mechanics. You know, if you're looking to learn about orbital mechanics, Orbiter Space Sim is amazing. Awesome. Okay, so we have at least one person, actually two people. Okay, well, we're definitely going to run it again. I'm gonna show you the two simulations for both SN8 and also for Falcon Heavy. And I'll show you where you can download all the mods for Orbiter as well. We'll definitely do that. So basically, that means this stream that I was hoping would be short and sweet is not going to be short and sweet at all. It's going to be far too long, and I'm going to get people mad at me, but that's fine. That's fine. We might just skip tomorrow's stream. I'm not sure yet. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. You know, you never know when you hit the go live button just what you are, what's in store for you. So it's just one of those nights. But we'll definitely do that. I'll pull out both Orbiter, Spaceflight Simulator, and as well, I'll pull out those 2 mods that I talked about for sure. And yeah, we might do another Waco flight. Yeah, might as well. Might as well. Might as well do another Waco flight. So we'll actually head down to the launch facility just like we did on Sunday. We'll definitely do another Waco flight together.
JPAG, United 274.
Southwest 2927, expect the RNAV, correction RNAV.
By the way, I totally missed pointing that out. Thanks, Race.
RNAV 035 right.
You probably saw some lights earlier after we went south past Austin. That was the city of Austin, that was the city of San Antonio, Texas. So San Antonio is just southwest of Austin.
468.
They're very, very close together.
For gate 31.
United 468, welcome to Austin. Taxi Golf 2 to the terminal. Thanks for flying.
Golf 2 to the
Interesting,
terminal.
absolutely. What did you mean?
Rest of your weekend.
What is? Oh, workaround for what, Austin? Absolutely. The 75 pounds of cargo in the aft. What was that a workaround for? Evidence please for saying you trust Carenado with GA prop planes but not jets. Yeah, that's fair evidence. Although, caveat emptor, right, as they say. Coming from a real world tailwheel pilot, I've been flying tailwheel airplanes in real life for about 5 years now. The Waco, and by the way, I pronounce it Waco on purpose because in real life, what I've heard, I've never had time in a Waco in real life, but in real life, the Waco is actually pronounced Waco. I think it's the most ridiculous name for an aircraft company and an aircraft in history. Waco sounds almost too close to wacko in my view. So just for my own sanity, I constantly mispronounce it as Waco because I can't do Waco. I just think it's the most ridiculous name for an aircraft in history. It's a beautiful airplane, don't get me wrong. It's an absolutely beautiful airplane. It's when it comes to open cockpit biplanes, it is the Ferrari of open cockpit biplanes, right? That are commercially available these days. But the name is ridiculous. So that's why I constantly mispronounce Waco as Waco, because I cannot do Waco. But anyway, from a real-world tailwheel pilot here, I just want to point out that the tailwheel physics, especially with the most recent patch, are just terrible. Like, it doesn't handle like an actual tailwheel airplane. Just an FYI. And we'll talk about that, of course, when we fly it later, but the tailwheel physics for the Waco are just terrible.
Hey, bring it up with your company.
Oh, did I? Did I miss a descent order?
United 273, I need you to start down now. Descend now to flight level 250.
Was that me, or was that... I'm not yet at my top of descent. I'm about 15 miles out. Houston, citation 321 Charlie Alpha. We didn't miss a descent instruction, did we?
Yep, that's okay. Number 321 Charlie Alpha, descend and maintain flight level 370. And when able, say approach request into Brownsville.
Descend and maintain 370 for 321 Charlie Alpha, and we'd like to request the RNAV GPS 31 if possible from the Cameron folks. Okay, down to 370. Thank you for that, Race.
321 Charlie Alpha, you can expect that.
Thank you much. Okay.
United 273, thanks for the help cross rhythm at 11000.
This is the problem with me flying on Vatsim is I talk a lot, and and just like that, I missed that descent instruction. Okay, descending down at 370 there, we'll descend at about 2,000 feet per minute.
American
Actually, let's make it 2,200.
Climb and maintain flight level 3. I can give you flight level 290 or flight level 310.
Oh no, evidence please. You wouldn't get a number to call for that. You, in real life, you would just get, you know, you would just get chewed off. You would just get chewed up a little bit by the controller if, you know, if you miss just one, usually they're okay with it. If you miss multiple, they would chew you out.
Left turn heading
If
180
you
United
completely
274.
disregarded the being chewed out part, that's when you get a number to call. That's when you get a number to call. Okay, let's do our descent checklist here. Okay, pressurization, verify set landing elevation. Okay, let's brief our RNAV approach procedure here, because we wanted to do a missed approach procedure, and we wanted to take advantage of the modeling of the missed approach and the holding procedures. Correction, the fact we want to take advantage of the fact that the working title update now actually models missed approaches and holds. So let's brief this in detail real quick. I'm going to pull up my iPad on screen once again. Give me a second to do that. All right. Sorry, folks. We're just going to stay inside, even though the sunset is just absolutely correction, the sunrise is just absolutely spectacular. And we're coming up on Corpus Christi here real quick. Altitude capture mode on the autopilot there. Boy, it's going to be beautiful once we're right over Corpus Christi going down the Gulf Coast there. But let me go ahead and mirror my iPad. There it is, it's mirrored. Now I want to go ahead and, whoops. Now I want to go ahead and actually pull it up on screen. Give me a second to do that. Okay, we'll just stay in the cockpit here because I want to talk about a few things. Okay, so this is the RNAV GPS runway 31 approach. And the way the working title team is modeled, their mod, by the way, the plane does RNAV procedures really, really well. So let's brief the approach plate here. We're going to do the RNAV GPS runway 31. There's the WAS channel. No need to worry about that, really. Final approach course is going to be 312.
November 321 Charlie Alpha. Cleared direct CAMI, or CAMM. Cross CAMM at or above 2000. Cleared RNAV runway 31 approach.
Clear direct CAMM, cross CAMM at or about 2000. Cleared the RNAV GPS runway 31 approach for 321 Charlie Alpha. Thank you much. Okay, perfect.
274, clear direct JPEG. Thanks.
Direct CAMM,
Clear direct JPEG. United
cross CAMM at or about 2000. And cleared the RNAV 31. So that clearance, by the way, in my mind qualifies as a clear to descend instruction, correct? Let me know if I'm mistaken there, because I've never flown up this high before. So I would assume that's a clearance down to 2,000 feet. Whenever, you know, or at my discretion, like whenever I come up on my top of descent at this altitude. Okay, so anyway, let's go direct CAMM here. Direct CAMM, execute, there we go. And I'm just going to roll my altitude selector here down to 2,000.
Cam Force 1, Houston Center, low climb, maintain flight level 360.
Oops. Let me know, for those of you that might actually have turbine time or know better than me, and a lot of you probably do, we do have some CFIs in chat, let me know if I got that wrong. I'm assuming that qualifies as a descent instruction as well. Down to 2,000 at my discretion, right? If I'm already cleared the approach. I've never been cleared the approach at this altitude before. So that's why I'm wondering. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and brief our approach here.
2927 at Smurf.
So, okay,
cleared
we've been cleared direct CAMM, right? So we're coming up on CAMM. That's our initial approach fix. And I mentioned this in our stream on Sunday. The U.S.-Mexico border is right there. You see the U.S.-Mexico border. If it looks super squiggly, that's because the border between the U.S. and Mexico is defined by the Rio Grande, the river. Along our southern border there. So we're going to actually cross over into Mexico and then back north across into the U.S. Over the Rio Grande there. So we're going to head down to CAMM and let me arm VNAV mode here. There we go. VNAV mode armed. That way we can automatically start our descent once we get to the top of descent marker there. So that works out nicely.
273, roger.
There we go. Let me just speed up a little bit here as well. Okay. So once we get to CAMM, we're going to turn right on a track of 217 at or above 2,000 feet until we get to SAMU of 2,000, and then we're going to descend down to 1,700 feet. That's our final approach fix at the Schul fix. At Schul, we can descend we're gonna assume we're doing an LPV approach today, right? Those of you that are instrument rated or just know your instrument charts, right? You probably all know the difference between LPV, LNAV, VNAV, and LNAV only. In some cases, you have LNAV plus V. That's never going to be marked in chart. Obviously, that's just GPS specific.
Southwest 4064, contact
But we're going to be doing an LPV
125.5.
approach today, okay? So we're going to head down the computed glide path that's going to be enunciated on the autopilot, obviously, modes there. But we're going to be descending down that computer glide path. It's a 3-degree glide path, it looks like. Down to cross Danio at 520, and then we're going to descend down to the decision altitude of 270 feet. So I'm going to set my decision altitude here real quick. Let's go to the refs menu, and there you go, Blooms. Thanks for that. I much appreciate it. K20017. How's it going, my friend? For those of you who don't know who this is, we were just talking about how awesome the Working Title team is. This guy is actually a member of the team, K20017. So make sure to give him lots of accolades, because we would not be having as much fun, I think, in the business jets, at least, in MSFS without the work that folks like Mr. K does. Let me know what you go by there, K20017, because obviously that name, K20017. Thank you. I was being a little too forward there by shortening it. But anyway, I'm going to come back in a second. K2, that works nicely. Okay, that's a lot better. But K2 is part of the Working Title team. Make sure to give him a big friendly howdy, and thank him for the work him and his team do. Seriously, because they do an amazing job. So K2, today we're going to be trying out the missed approach functionality of this airplane, and as well a hold or two. Okay, I want to set. By the way, we're coming up on our top of descent here. You see the little marker moving in there, the VNAV POC marker. Now the autopilot has automatically gone into VPath mode, and we're descending along the computed descent profile that we have in the system.
273, contact Nolans, approach
Okay, I wanted to set my barrel ref here, so let me do that real quick. Barrel ref minimums, once again, were 270 feet, right? That's our decision altitude for this LPV approach. So I'm going to set that. 270 is our LPV minimums for this flight today. That's set. Great. And then what I want to do is compute my approach speeds.
Air Force 1, clear direct Gurley.
Is there a Manly fix? I'm sorry, I had to do that. I had to do that. Okay, anyway, let's... I'm usually not this immature, but I couldn't resist there. Okay, let me back off the throttle a little bit there. Oh boy, that was the overspeed horn. I've never heard that before. That's super cool. That's actually modeled. Okay. 1 second. I wanna go ahead and do my perf. There we go. Approach. All right. Let me put in the weather at Brownsville. 1 second. Okay. KBRO ATIS. Just gonna search for this. Okay. I kind of wish I just pulled up ForeFlight today, folks, but I don't have enough time to set up ForeFlight, so I'm just gonna Google this. 1 second.
Golf India Romeo Lima Yankee.
Oh boy, where? I can't seem to find the ATIS for Brownsville. Why not? Oh, not ATIS, sorry. METAR. I wanted to find the METAR for Brownsville. Of course I can't find the ATIS online. 260 at 3 are the winds. Let me put that in. 260 at 3. It helps when you use the right search term on Google when you're searching for stuff. 1 second, folks. I know I missed a ton of chat. I'm just way behind here. Bad streamer. I'm way behind on things here. Okay, outside air temperature is 13 degrees, and altimeter is 2998. Just gonna put that in. There we go. And let's go ahead and check our speeds here. So it's gonna be a flaps 35 landing. Runway 31 today. 7,400 foot runway, and computed landing field length of 2684 out of 7401. because, oh, that key's not active yet, no worries. Landing weight computed of 13,760. VREF of 105, final approach speed 112. Just going to send that off to the speed tape. And yeah, there we go. Our descent prep is more or less complete at this point. So we got our barrel minimum set, we got our final approach speed computed, and let's take a look here at the missed approach procedure, because I wanted to do this. So our MSA within 25 nautical miles of runway 31 is 2,600 feet. Missed approach procedure is really straightforward. Okay, we're going to climb to 2,000 feet direct to the vertifix, and we're going to hold there as published. So it's non-standard left turns in the hole, look at that. And we're going to be inbound on a track of 132. And it looks like about 1 minute legs, like 4 nautical mile legs there. So what I want to see the airplane do is I want to see it do, you know, for a hold from our direction, either a teardrop or a parallel entry will work. We'll see what the autopilot does. I'm kind of curious to see what the autopilot does here. It's probably going to do a teardrop, is my guess. But either one will work, honestly. You know. So
told by departure for
yeah, you know what I'm going to do? So here's what we're going to do. Just like described in the documentation, or as K2 is probably describing in a lot of detail there, we're just going to hit the go-around button once I'm at the decision altitude. I'm going to assume, it depends on what the weather is actually doing, right? I don't know what the weather is actually doing in the sim right now. The weather, for all I know, might actually be below minimums. I've got to make sure I know what it actually is doing. But either case, we're going to assume we're going missed on this first approach. So I'm going to hit the go-around button at decision altitude, and we're just going to execute the published missed approach procedure. So we're going to proceed to FERDA, climb to 2,000 feet, and then we'll let the autopilot execute a hold entry. We'll do a lap of the hold, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do in terms of either another go of the approach, or if the conditions permit it, maybe we'll do a visual approach. We'll see what's possible. We're going to be landing on 3-1 today. Runway length, once again, 7,400 feet. And once we land, you know, eventually, when we land, we're going to try and exit, let's see, Delta if we can get it. If not, we'll get Alpha and then Bravo to the FBO. There's 2 FBOs.
5 minutes off.
Whatever FBO is closest. We'll just go to whatever FBO is closest. All right, that's it. That's our very poorly, very shabbily, very choppily done approach brief there, folks. Let me go ahead and hide the iPad away. And hey, let me catch up on chat. I got to get back to my streaming duties here. I'm just going to stop mirroring the iPad as well, 1 second. All right, folks, I know I missed a ton. I'm going to catch up here. Let's see. K2 was saying go-arounds happen quick in this jet. You've done 2 of them in the real thing. You would recommend to pull my power back so I'm screaming. That's good advice there, K2. That's actually really good advice. I've done it once in this airplane, and I've had exactly the experience you described. And considering I want to level off at just 2,000 feet, right? That's probably very, very, very good advice. So I'm glad you suggested that.
The Brownsville altimeter is 2998.
K2 says engineers aren't stupid knowing how pilots fly, so the jet won't disintegrate at never speed. Yeah, exactly. There's always like a margin there. Yeah, there's definitely a margin for sure. You know, VNE. I'm trying to remember if I know what that margin is, but I don't remember it off the top of my head.
CAM-M, Charlie Alpha Mike, India Mike, cross CAM-M at or above 2,000. Cleared RNAV.
1 second, folks. Okay, it's still kind of cloudy over the Gulf here, but wow, look at that. So we passed Corpus Christi, Texas earlier, and you can see the shoreline of all the barrier islands here. Look at that. That's spectacular. So you kind of make it out through some gaps in the cloud layer below us.
Contact Atlanta Center 132.907.
I mean, these clouds are like broken to scattered, right, going off in that direction. But that's beautiful. Did I miss a call again?
4761 Atlanta Center 132.907.
But look at that. That's beautiful. This is part of the charm, right, of Microsoft Flight Simulator is, my God, you know,
United 274 to send via the link.
Especially in this day and age, with COVID
3000.
travel restrictions and everything, you actually get to experience a little bit of, you know, the joy of kind of flying and checking out these sites from the air. At least as an approximation of what it would look like in real life.
American 9924.
Just gorgeous. And look at that sunrise over the Gulf there. Oh man, just love it. So if I'm not mistaken, what is this island here? We're not yet at South Padre Island, but we're going to be coming up on South Padre Island here in just a hot minute. So in about, let's see, maybe in about 5 minutes, we're going to be over South Padre Island. In fact, you can actually see it. There's a shipping channel, it looks like, down there. And on the other side of that shipping channel is South Padre Island. That's super cool. Oh boy, and there's that horn once again.
Roger. Welcome to Austin, taxi to the
It's going to back off there.
Golf 2. Thanks for flying.
So we're flight testing this airplane a little bit here. We're flight testing. Okay, let's continue through our descent checklist here. Ice protection systems as required. Altimeters, let's go ahead and reset. Altimeter at Brownsville was once again, what was it? 29908.
Descend and maintain flight level 290.
Descend and maintain flight level 290, November 143.
29908 set. Exterior lights is required. You know, let's go and get the landing lights on right now, and let's get the seatbelt light on as well. Or the folks in back.
Reach flight level 290 in 4 minutes or less.
And landing data. Let's start going through the approach checklist here. Landing data is set. Crew briefing, we've completed that. Avionics flight instruments checked. Oh, I like that. This controller is sassy today. Minimum set. Fuel transfer selector off. Exterior lights is required. Eyes protection as required. And we'll continue through this once we're actually in the approach itself. Okay, perfect. All right, we're continuing to descend here. Descending through 16,000 feet. And we're going to be at 2,000, it looks like, just as we come up on KMM there. So that's perfect. Awesome, folks. Okay, so the famous South Padre Island that you hear about in all the SpaceX, you know, or the everyday astronaut and, what do you call it, the NASA spaceflight broadcast, this is the famous South Padre Island, at least as far as I know. I think this is South Padre Island. It goes all the way down south to Boca Chica, pretty much. Really long, huge, bare island here. Man, look at that sunrise. That's beautiful. Got to take a screenshot there. All right, folks, I'm going to catch up on chat. Sorry, I missed it done. Blom says, Google says V&E gives you a 10% margin about something called max dive speed. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Yes, K2, this controller is amazing. He's really, really good for sure. Ray says just about 10 to 20 miles behind. Yeah, that's because I'm not doing a good job of keeping my speed up here. I've been doing a terrible job of monitoring my speed control. Ray says I am over Padre Island. The next island is South Padre. Interesting. Okay. Am I over at South Padre already, or is this still Padre Island? Evidence Please was asking, what does the cable do? Evidence, I'm gonna guess that's a radio wire. You know, I don't know when the CJ4 was designed, but I'm gonna guess that's a high frequency antenna, says Bloms. Yeah, quite likely, right? It's definitely an antenna, something related to the radio. That's usually what it is. Okay. As I come up on 10,000 there, I'm going to back off the throttles, obviously, and slow down to 250 knots.
Delta 588, Houston.
Oh man, I love that the new Vatsim codec actually models that transmission loss that you get from aircraft that are significantly far away from your current location. It's just like Pilot Edge, just like real life, to be honest. It's amazing.
Runway 31 approach.
I am over South Padre, says Ray's. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. So I'm not completely useless when I'm trying to be geographically accurate here. All right. K2 was mentioning the iPad overlay. K2, that's actually that was like a custom overlay that I made for my Streamlabs.
483 traffic, 12 o'clock approximately.
You know, for Slobs, you know, my Streamlabs client, right? So that was a custom overlay that I actually can't see, right? Only you folks that are watching the stream can see it. I actually have to physically look down at my iPad when I'm talking about whatever's in there. Oh boy, there's 10,000, and sure enough, I lost track of my speed there. Okay, getting the speed brakes out a little bit. There we go. There's 250. We're gonna pretend the controller. We're gonna pretend nobody saw that, right? Nobody saw that. That didn't happen.
Houston Center Southwest 422.
That didn't happen.
Top of descent. I mean, I'm sorry. Top of ascent.
All right, continue to descend here.
Sorry, Southwest 422, Roger.
Evidence, please. Exactly. Yeah, air crash investigation can really kind of screw that TV series. Can really skew your perspective on aviation safety for sure. It can really skew your perspective. Okay, folks, I totally forgot that I wanted to do this earlier. Let's talk about this. The current METAR, or the most recent METAR at Brownsville, South Padre International, reported winds out of the, actually winds calm, 2603 knots. But visibility is a half statute mile. Fog reported. Ceilings reported at 700 feet. Temperature 13, dew point 12. Altimeter 29908. Correction. Indefinite ceiling reported with a vertical visibility of 700 feet. AGL. But still, the conditions are actually pretty poor at Brownsville Airport. So we'll see what happens. Either case, you know, we're definitely going to execute a missed approach procedure on the first try. So we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see what happens. If the conditions don't clear up, what we might do is just go to a custom weather preset that's a bit more conducive for when we actually decide to go for the landing. But from what I'm seeing right outside right now, it actually looks pretty good once you get below this layer of clouds. But we'll see what happens. You know, I don't know how well MSFS, when you're above a layer of fog, actually models that. So we'll have to see once we get below this layer if the fog that's reported in the METAR is actually modeled. The other thing to note, of course, is that in MSFS, live weather doesn't always correspond. In fact, in some cases, it can actually deviate significantly from reported weather, right? And of course, even in real life, METARs are never necessarily accurate. They're only accurate at the time of reporting. After that, rely on the ATIS or AWAS, right? Okay, continuing to descend here. Did I miss any radio calls? Did I get Houston Center or anybody mad at me? I don't know. I think we're good for now. Let me catch up on chat though. K2 was saying, which sounds the CJ4 won't tell on you like an airliner would. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that.
370, clear direct 11, Bravo Lima Victor November Sierra.
You know, K2, you got to build a backdoor that notifies your streaming audience when you're doing something with the airplane that you shouldn't be. So it's like a little Streamlabs bot or chat bot pop-up, right, that tells you DJ Aviator or, you know, XYZ streamer oversped the airplane so many times, right? You guys got to build a backdoor that automatically connects to Nightbot or some streaming chatbot just to notify your streamer or your streaming audience of all the...
runway 31, clear to land.
Runway 31, clear to land, forward 321 Charlie Alpha. Oh, just to advise you, we're actually going to be terminating this approach by going missed. We might execute a lap and a hold on the missed approach procedure before coming back in for another try.
Number 321 Charlie Alpha, Roger. On the missed approach, fly the published missed, and maintain 2000.
On the missed, we'll fly the published missed approach procedure and maintain 2000 forward 321 Charlie Alpha. Thank you for the help there. Okay, continuing to descend here. That's fantastic. I'm glad this controller was willing to accommodate us there, because that's kind of an unusual request, especially on this network. It's not so unusual on Pilot Edge, obviously, but especially on this network, and especially it's such a small, kind of out-of-the-way airport, right? I could tell this controller is probably not too familiar with the procedures at Brownsville.
American 9924, welcome back.
And who would be, right? It's not a commonly flown into airport in flightsim, or correction, on the Vatsim network. Okay, we're coming up on CAMM, so we talked about the approach procedure earlier. We're just going to execute that approach procedure as described. So minimum's 270 feet, decision altitude. We're coming up on 2,000 feet. I'm going to slow down here as we come up on the initial approach fix, and we'll slow down for the approach.
Departure frequency with me, squawk 2550.
that exactly, K2. It would totally overload your servers, but that would be hilarious. By the way, I mentioned the Rio Grande earlier, delineating the border between the U.S. and Mexico. There's the Rio Grande back there. So look at the spectacular landscape here. We're going to see this when we do our flight in the Waco later. This is a really interesting landscape.
12 and 15.
So right now we've already crossed over into Mexico, and because I guess there's some, Arctic, controller, airspace sharing agreement, right? For this portion of the airspace within Mexico that has this approach procedure, Houston Center still has control, despite the fact that we're technically in Mexican airspace right now. So we're at 2,000 feet there. We're gonna just continue following the approach procedure as I described it earlier. Gotta make sure I pull up my chart on my iPad as well. There we go. Okay, great.
Southwest 3005, contact Monterey Center 124.
Out of curiosity, does everyone want to see an overlay off the iPad? It's still going to be kind of big, but does everyone want to see an overlay of the iPad during the approach? I'm just going to get that teed up here, assuming the answer is going to be yes. Assuming the answer is going to be yes. I'm just going to tee that up. No, evidence. He sounded very professional about it. He sounded super professional about it. I think he didn't sound shocked. I think he was just kind of looking up the missed approach procedure. As a controller, you never want to issue a clearance without knowing what that clearance entails. So I think he was more or less just sort of like saying, "Hey, give me a minute. I want to actually pull up the approach procedure you're describing." Okay, iPad is being mirrored, overlay to the right, so we can see the PFD. 1 second, folks. I got to figure out if that's actually going to work. Hold on, I'm just going to zoom in, so 1 second. I'm just going to zoom in to the extent that you can see most of the PFD. Yeah, so you can see the PFD there, so that's good enough for now. I don't want to move my iPad because that screws up my overlay completely for future streams, and it takes me a while to get it back, so I hope this is good enough for everybody. Hope this is good enough for everyone. Okay, we're coming up on Samuel there. Let's go ahead. We're below the maximum flaps extension speed for flaps 15. Let's go ahead and get flaps 15. I'm going to maintain 180 knots for right now. Approach mode should have been armed a long time ago. Approach LNAV 1 there. That's good. And if the iPad starts to hide things, just let me know. I'll zoom back out again. No, K2, no worries. I'm glad you asked me because that did force me to think about how to arrange that. I'm gonna try and move. Obviously, I'm flying on instruments, by the way, folks, I totally forgot to mention this. We are in an IFR flight plan today. You know what that means.
2 more minutes. They could be miles off course. That's impossible. They're on instruments.
That's right, we're flying on instruments. Oh my god, I can't believe I haven't had a chance to use that little scene in forever. The iPad is okay now, that's great. Okay, whoops, not that one. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. I control Streamlabs using my using my iPad as well. All right. John, how's it going? John, are you, where are you in the approach sequence out of curiosity? So there's the glide path indicator starting to come in there. So eventually we're going to be on the glide path. So let's continue through the checklist here. Flaps 15 checked, passenger briefing completed. Passenger briefing essentially consists of me turning my head, looking back there and going, hey fellers, we're sort of landing. We're actually going to execute a missed approach procedure, and that's our passenger briefing. So that's just a callback to the hey fellers, we're taking off
and
from...
November 321 Charlie Alpha, just for your situation awareness, I have a target 7,600 unverified. He's followed you all the way down from San Antonio, but he's VFR, not talking to him.
Okay, we'll be looking for that traffic. Might be one of the folks that are flying along with me who just failed to call in, I suppose. But thanks for letting us know. We'll be looking.
And he's about to go into Mexico, and I can't help the defense budget if they decide to waste a little bit of money on him.
Okay, there we go. We're descending. We're on glide path right now. I'm gonna continue slowing down here. I'm gonna fully configure the aircraft for landing, and you can see the huge mismatch here, right between.
Delta 588, clear.
You can see the huge mismatch between live weather and the reported METAR. But again, who knows how old that METAR was at Brownsville? I forgot to check the timestamp. So for all I know, it might actually be this clear at Brownsville South Padre International. So at a certain point, I'm gonna take over manually. And we'll fly manually at that point. So autopilot disconnected. Let's go ahead and go manual at this point. Gear coming down. I'm just going to fly the published mist here. So, you know, I'm going to assume that it's completely fogged in and I can't see anything. So just don't believe your lying eyes here. You can't actually see anything. Let's go flaps 35. I'll try my level best here to continue through the checklist. Landing checklist, landing date, landing, down 3 green, landing gear, speed brakes, 0%, flaps 35 set. Okay, I'm gonna slow down to our final approach speed of 112 knots there. Autopilot and yaw damper, let's go ahead and disengage. The yaw damper I think gets disengaged below 500, right? But I'm gonna disengage it right now. And yeah, we're good for now. Okay. So I can only descend down at 270 feet. I gotta level off at 270 because that's my decision altitude. I'm still assuming, don't believe your lying eyes, I'm still assuming I can't see a thing outside. So there's 270, going missed. Let's go ahead and click go around, and let's go ahead and climb. And slight bit of a pilot deviation there. Let's go to the takeoff detent if I can. There we go. Let's go back into nav mode on the autopilot. There we go. Let's go flaps 15.
And Delta 588 Houston Center.
Let's go flaps up. Let's make sure we get the gear up, clean the airplane up, and let's fly the missed approach procedure here. So we're climbing up to 2,000 feet. Let's go to flight level change mode. There we go. Let's engage the autopilot. Help us out a little bit. And we'll level off at 2,000 feet. K2, the missed approach, or the go-around mode on this airplane, or the go-around actually went pretty well, as you probably saw. I was pretty pleased with that. You know, I never felt at any point like it was out of my control. You know, although I was a bit task saturated there, but I never felt at any point like it was out of my control. You know, just disregard what I'm doing with the flight level change because we're coming up, we're in altitude capture mode already. But now we're going to fly the published missed approach procedure. So published missed approach procedure, just going to zoom in there, had us going direct to FERDA. At FERDA, we're going to fly the hold. So I'm just going to let the autopilot automatically fly the hold there for me. I'm going to pull up the whole page on the FMS. And let's make sure that this looks okay here. So FERDA, and look at that, it actually has our hold entry procedure listed. So just like I suspected, it's going to do a teardrop entry for the direction we're coming in from. I'm not sure how familiar those of you on stream are with different holding pattern entry techniques. For the direction we're coming from, it's borderline between parallel entry and a teardrop entry. So teardrop works just fine in my view. So we're going to do a teardrop entry. Maximum speed of the hold is 200 knots. I want to back off the throttle there so we can slow down to at least 200 knots.
American
1 minute legs,
contact
actually should be
Monterey
4 nautical mile
124.5.
legs, so I'm going to put 4 nautical miles there.
24.5,
Execute. There we go. So 4 nautical mile
Number
legs.
321 Charlie Alpha radar contact. Just advise whenever you'd like to exit the hold and say intentions.
We'll advise when we're ready to execute the hold. We're just going to execute 1 lap of the hold, and then we'll advise when we're ready to return for another go at the RNAV 31 for 321 Charlie Alpha.
All right, number 321 Charlie Alpha, when ready, clear direct cam, cross cam at or above 2,000, clear RNAV runway 31 approach.
When ready, clear direct cam, cross cam at or above 2,000, and clear the RNAV 31 for 321 Charlie Alpha. Thank you much. Okay, there's 200 knots.
Actually, number 321 Charlie Alpha, sorry, change of plans. Cancel approach instructions. Continue in the hold. I have 1 aircraft inbound. Once he's inbound, I'll clear you to Cameron.
No worries at all. We'll continue the hold, and we're canceling that previous, or we'll go ahead and cancel that previous clearance. Thanks. 321 Charlie Alpha. Okay, so 200 knots there, coming up on FERDA, and the airplane at this point should automatically enter the hold at FERDA with a teardrop entry. So let's see what happens. Teardrop entry, by the way, has us going on a 30-degree heading from the outbound course, so a heading of about 342. So I'm going to bug that heading of 342 there. So we'll see how well this actually flies the hold entry there. I'm going to slow down to about 195, maybe 190 knots. Thanks there, K2. Much appreciated. That means a lot coming from you, considering you actually flew this type in real life.
135.902.
K2, out of curiosity, and I know I'm kind of asking the hen or the fox for the opinion of the hen house here, but given that you actually are both a CJ4 pilot in real life and you also on the mod team here, but given your experience in CJ4, how quickly did you feel things went there during the missed approach versus how quickly it feels in real life? So we're executing a teardrop entry at this point. It's not doing exactly what I would do, but at the same time, it's not doing anything wrong either, by the way, in real life, ATC doesn't care how you enter a hold. There's a lot of emphasis, at least in the US, as far as I know. I don't know what the situation is in other countries. In real life, ATC couldn't care less how you enter a hold. If you want to do direct entry from a completely wrong direction, ATC couldn't care less as long as you stay on the protected side of the hold. So that's why I'm not too upset about whatever the autopilot's going to do here. I'm just going to let it do its thing. So we're going to start turning outbound here. Actually, we're going to start turning back on the teardrop entry towards the inbound course. So that's what's happening right now. Did I miss a radio call, by the way? I'm not sure if I did. Devonch, right now, for this, honestly, the angle we were approaching from, you can do either a parallel or you can do a teardrop entry. And for those of you who fly instrument a lot more regularly than I do, let me know. My instrument flying in real life, more or less, ever since I got my instrument, is pretty much limited to the proficiency check every few months, with very, very little real instrument flying for the most part in real life. So I'm one of those people that really has to brush up on my knowledge every once in a while, because most of my flying IRL is mostly VFR tailwheel flying. With a healthy sprinkling of glider flying thrown in there as well. So I may not be the best person, just an FYI, obviously, I may not be the best person to get input from on IFR procedures, because I do very, very little of it in real life. But at least for me, for that kind of entry, coming from the heading we were coming from, I suspect we would do either a parallel or a teardrop. It doesn't really matter. Probably the most optimal is a teardrop entry, is my guess. So the autopilot is doing a little bit of funky stuff here in order to enter on the teardrop, but it's more or less working out. I'm watching the heading director super closely there, by the way. Or the flight director, rather. The flight director is doing exactly what I wanted to do, so that's good. K2 says you often get tunnel vision when doing a Mr. Go-Around. Yeah, totally, K2. Yeah, and that's what I was saying, right? Like, I felt like that worked out okay on the mist, on the go-around, but what I was saying was I felt task saturated, exactly like you described, that if I had gotten a radio call during that missed approach procedure, I probably would have completely tuned it out. You know, and by the way, this airplane, if I remember correctly, right, it's single pilot, certified in real life, correct? It doesn't require a two-person flight crew. So yeah, you know, I think for sure I would have totally missed any instructions if I had gotten it during that go around.
November 1483 traffic, go.
Okay.
I will say traffic.
So we're just going to execute or continue the hold here until we're cleared back to Cannon. What I can do, just to help myself out here, folks, is I can go ahead and put in, one second, I can go ahead and put in
We report traffic inside for
RNAV 31 and CAMM there, and
it should be true 12 o'clock
execute
now.
that. So at least I have that on standby, waiting for me when ATC clears us out of the hold. So there we go. We're turning outbound now. By the way, if you have 1 minute legs in a hold, how long does your entire holding pattern take? Or at least how long is it supposed to take? It's supposed to take a total of 4 minutes, right? 1 minute for the outbound leg, 1 minute for the standard rate turn back into the inbound leg, another minute on the inbound leg, then another minute on the turn back to the outbound leg. So total of 4 minutes is how long a single lap in the hold is supposed to take.
American 9924, contact
Okay, too, I'm already there. I'm already there with you. And it is so hard, I gotta tell you, like streaming at the same time that you're streaming and trying to narrate a stream at the same time that you're trying to fly this single pilot is so challenging.
588, contact now on approach 125.5.
Okay, we're doing great here, though. I'm pretty pleased with everything I'm seeing. I gotta tell you, K2, you guys did an amazing job with this. I haven't touched anything, and I've barely been stressed, besides the go-around, over what the plane is gonna do. So you guys did an amazing job getting this plane to behave reasonably, which is insane considering the material you had to work with. You know, no offense to Microsoft, but in my view, for the most part, what Microsoft did was create a really pretty exterior model and a really pretty interior model, and everything else, for the most part, I felt like you guys really kind of, you know, put some real meat on these super pretty bones.
Charlie Alpha, clear direct CAMM, cross CAMM at or above 2000, cleared RNAV runway 31 approach.
Clear direct CAMM, cross CAMM at or above 2000, cleared the RNAV 31 approach for 321 Charlie Alpha, thank you. Okay, direct CAMM, let's go ahead and head there. So, oh wait, actually, 1 second. I want to do this. I want to try this and see how well it works. Oh, there's 2 holes. Exit a hold? Yep, there we go. And let's go direct to CAMM.
American 456, turn left heading 070, vectors for spacing.
Oh boy. Sim froze there, and that just gave me a heart attack. I've never had that in MSFS before, so that just gave me a heart attack. Okay, we're proceeding direct CAMM, or at least we're supposed to. Why are we going this way? We're supposed to go the other way, right? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Let's try the direct 2 again. 1 second. The team sends their regards. That's awesome.
483, wind
well, K2, I gotta tell you, it's so rare to see a freeware modding team like this dedicated to their craft, so to speak. You know, you guys, I think, considering you provide this completely for free, it's amazing how responsive you are to feedback from your users, from my perusing of your Discord channel, and it's really quite amazing. You know, that you're actually willing to put in the time to, you know, watch, you know, relatively, you know, relatively bad sim pilots like myself every once in a while stream and showcase your work, not always very helpfully on stream, and provide some helpful information. That's rare to see from freeware developers, or even payware developers, for that matter, to be completely honest with you. So once again, can't thank you folks enough for the amazing work you've done here. Okay, we're proceeding direct cam. We're just going to fly that approach just as we had it earlier. So once again, let's make sure that we got barrel ref set, decision altitude 270 feet once again, and VREF, I think, we're just going to assume it's the same. If anything, it maybe dropped by a knot down to 111. So I'm just going to assume VREF is still 112, and yeah, we're all good there. All right, doing good. Going to stay at 2,000 feet. Proceeding direct Camem. Camem is 26 miles away, so I don't know why I'm still doing 180 knots. Let me speed up here. Let me speed up here to a speed we're supposed to be doing, like 240 knots. And by now, actually, let me hide my iPad away. I think we've seen the procedure, we've seen the Mr. Purge procedure, so we probably don't need to see the iPad anymore. So let's go ahead and hide that away. Give me a second. But I'm assuming, at this point, given that our passengers and back, we're just totally not expecting,
number 321 Charlie Alpha, traffic's going to be to 11 o'clock, approximately 15 miles. VFR maneuvering underneath Cami at 1,500, altitude unverified.
321 Charlie Alpha will be looking for that traffic. Okay, so 11 o'clock.
Southwest 1059, welcome back.
It's probably VFR traffic. Wait, is that Kyle Longley? Maybe, I don't know. Who's actually flying IFR on Vatsim that's on stream, and who's actually flying VFR, out of curiosity? And by the way, if you were flying VFR, you're completely within your rights to do so, because the Class Delta only extends out about 5 miles from Brownsville. This is Class Delta, by the way. It's not like... Again, this is like a really out-of-the-way airport, that almost nobody had heard of until SpaceX. Well, nobody outside of, South Padre Island spring breakers. Because apparently, South Padre Island is like a major spring break destination, which I did not know about until I started following SpaceX presence here at Boca Chica. But whoever's doing VFR, you're well within your rights to do so, because you're well outside of the Class Delta. So you don't need to be talking to anyone, especially this way near Camem. And Camem, by the way, is super close to the actual SpaceX launch facility. So my suspicion is, oh, it's Rays. There you go. Rays is the VFR traffic. Okay, awesome. It helps for me to catch up on chat every once in a while, instead of just blabbing away. But Rays is VFR traffic, and you probably didn't meet me to tell you so, Rays, but just for the benefit of folks in the audience who are wondering if that was somebody just goofing off on Vatsim. No, that was somebody doing something, in this case, Rays. Rays perfectly within his rights, or within their rights, sorry. Rays perfectly within their rights to just circle around, anywhere they want to VFR, outside of controlled airspace.
Southwest 1059, Roger. Just to maintain.
All right. Let's see. What did I miss here?
American 456, clear direct red 10. Thanks for the help.
Oh, you're in a Mirage, says Ray. Okay. K2 says, you think the community is a very important part of a sim, and it can essentially dictate the health of the game. Having this free can provide an easy path for new users into complex aircraft. K2, I can't express enough how grateful I am for folks that volunteer their time to develop things like this with that kind of mindset. That is incredibly gratifying, to see in the flight sim community. There's a lot of folks, right? Folks in the flight sim community that I think get a lot more presence, who often, a lot more visibility rather, who often point this out, right? Like, especially in the streaming community, like Blackbox, etc. Blackbox is awesome, by the way. He's often pointing out just how amazing the flight sim community is, and I think the sentiments you expressed are part of what makes me, certainly proud to be involved in this community for sure. You know, it's amazing to see that kind of sentiment, and I can't agree more wholeheartedly there. It's great to see. Okay, holy cow, I feel terrible right now. Like, how late is it Central Time? It's probably almost midnight Central Time. I don't know if this controller is on Central Time or Mountain Time, but I feel kind of bad. I feel like we've been holding him up. I probably should have just asked for the visual, but it's probably too late to ask for the visual now, so we'll just go ahead and do the hour nav all the way in. This controller is awesome though. If I knew who he was, I'd send him a gift basket. Yeah, evidence please, absolutely. And by the way, somebody else who loves it is, what's his name? Citation Max, you know, who's obviously type rated in the CJ3 if I'm not mistaken, but still, Citation Max is a big fan too, which I'm sure must be pretty cool to see. It's only 11:34. Only. See, you have to be in your 30s like me to see 11. Anything past 10:30 as like super late. Anything past 10:30 is kind of getting into far too late territory. So that river back there, by the way, that's the Rio Grande. So that was the border between the U.S. and Mexico.
Hey, Houston Center, November 143, located runway
So Ray, just to let you know, that's the border between the U.S. and Mexico. Do not cross over to this side.
Straight ahead, thanks for flying.
Because at that point, you open yourself up to Predator drones and surface-to-air welcoming committees, right? So you don't want to cross over to the wrong side of that border. Or rather, you don't want to cross over to the wrong side of that border and then re-enter without permission, because that exposes you to all kinds of bad things. There you go, Rays. Yikes, 95-degree turn coming up. We'll see how well your airplane holds up. It's actually doing pretty well. You know, I screwed up there because I was going a little too fast, but it actually did really well. You see how it led the turn? It actually led the turn incredibly well. Look at that. We might overshoot just a smidgen. No, we won't. We're gonna be right on it, right on the money there. Okay, there's the initial approach fix. Approach mode armed. I'm going to slow down to a more reasonable approach speed here, like 180 knots. Or initial approach speed. But it did a good job there. It actually led the turn, which I was not expecting. And I was going super fast. I was like 220 knots, something like that. By the way, what's the speed limit within Class Charlie, Class Delta, and below Class Bravo, or below the floor of a Class Bravo? Or the shelf of a Class Bravo? 200 knots, right? So gotta remember that coming up on the Class Delta here. And also a helpful reminder there for Ray in the Mirage, because 200 knots, I'm willing to bet, is super easy to execute in the Mirage. K2, absolutely. Matt coded that, you said. Well, kudos to him, because you know, I'm not too familiar, by the way, just to let you know, with all the developers. Unfortunately, I just haven't had the time to keep appraised of like all the folks have been involved. But kudos to Matt there for sure for that programming. That was incredibly well done. Okay, let me check if there's been a weather update.
59 cross Odd at 11000-250.
299er now reported reported altimeter setting.
JetBlue 321 Houston Center, hello, climb maintain 50340.
Okay, approach mode armed. We're coming up on SAMU. At SAMU, we're going to turn inbound here.
And anybody else calling Houston Center unanswered ticket?
Can I look out the first officer window? Night Shadow, yes.
Delta 46,
what am I looking for?
57 Houston Center, also with you, my son. Climb and maintain 50240.
Okay, there we go. Turning inbound here. There's that turn anticipation again. I love it. I just love it. Man. I gotta tell you, I every time I fly this, I can't believe it's freeware. I just can't, really.
Number 321 at Charlie Alpha, how will this approach terminate?
321 Charlie Alpha will be full stop on this one.
Number 321 Charlie Alpha, roger. Wind 2603, runway 31, clear to land.
31 clear to land, 321 Charlie Alpha. Thanks again for all the help.
Happy to oblige.
Do you guys have an event going on today, out of curiosity? Whoops! I cut over somebody, didn't I? I did. I totally.
The answer is nothing.
Gotcha. Just curious because of all the traffic earlier.
Yeah, it's been a pretty nice night. Busy.
Yeah, great job tonight for sure.
Houston Center, Tigris 26, type Mirage 2000C, where the...
Okay, there we go. We got the glide path indicator coming in there. By the way, this is a GPS version of an ILS, right? Or a GPS version of an ILS glide slope
and you want a visual
indicator. So
I think we can
the WAS GPS system, I guess, is automatically computing a GPS glide path here. On this LPV approach. It's super fascinating. You know the only reason that an LPV approach doesn't qualify as officially as a precision approach, at least, so this is just me going on hearsay, once again, just a lowly PPL here, so don't take my words as gospel, but just a lowly PPL here. What I heard was the only reason the FAA did not qualify an LPV approach as a precision approach the way you'd qualify ILS or GLS is because they didn't want to go through the paperwork. Is that true, or is that an urban legend? Does anybody know? Is that true, or is that just an urban legend?
8 mile final for 3-1.
Genuinely curious. Okay, we've got a visual, even though we shouldn't technically, from the most two recent reports. K2, exactly. It should be precision. It is blasphemy. I agree with that.
Follow that traffic, number 2, runway 31, clear.
Okay, there we go. Gear coming down. We'll slow down to below our maximum extension for flaps 35. Then we'll get, you guessed it, flaps 35 out.
JetBlue. JetBlue 321.
There's maximum extension for flaps 35. Let's get flaps 35 out. And let's go and do our landing checklist here.
021 Foxtrot, Houston Center.
Can you do a gumps check in a in a turbine airplane? We'll do our version of a gumps check. Gas, running off both things. Undercarriage down, lock 3 green. FADEC, it's doing its thing in place of mixture and prop safety harnesses. And we've got flaps 35, so we're all good there. Okay, there's our final approach speed. Autopilot disconnected. Let's turn off the yaw damper. By the way, I'm not sure if I missed the answer to this earlier, or if I even asked the question, I'm sorry. But out of curiosity, K2, at what altitude do you turn off the yaw damper? How high above the ground do you turn off the yaw damper in this airplane?
Squawk 2472.
And by corollary, right, how high on your departure do you have to be before you can turn it on? All right, we're flying visually at this point. Nice indications on the VASI there.
Minimums.
That's looking good to me. It feels like we got a slight crosswind from the left there as per the windsock, also what I'm seeing outside the window. Okay, there we go. Over the threshold, throttles to idle. Just going to gently flare here. We got a nice little bump in the middle of the runway there. Just going to get a slight amount of crosswind correction there. Nice. Got a super soft textbook crosswind landing there. Speed brakes out. At least I think that's textbook. I've never flown this type in real life. But what I heard, right, K2, you can probably speak to this. You land one wing low, just the way you would in a 172, correct? But that worked out pretty nicely. I'm pleased with that one.
Southwest 3456, Houston Center, hello.
Flight director off.
Radar contact, welcome
We'll
aboard.
exit onto Alpha. I missed Delta, so we'll exit on Alpha. But we're spoiled for choice here with FBOs at Brownsville South Padre International, so we're just going to take the first FBO we can find. Okay, we're just gonna hang a left on Alpha here. Is this Alpha? Yeah, it's Alpha. Oh boy, I missed it. Yeah, this is Alpha. Oh, hold on. I'm going to hold short. Active runway, right? As far as I know. I'm not sure if I can cross.
And intentional aircraft, Houston Center will be closing in about 4 minutes.
Center, we vacated on Alpha. We're looking to cross 3618 to the ramp.
November 1 Charlie Alpha, cross runway 36, taxi Bravo to the ramp. Thanks for flying.
Cross runway 36, Bravo to the ramp for 321 Charlie Alpha. Hey, thanks for the help. You have a great night. Great job today.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, flaps up. Let's cross. Make sure we make room for John Ceballos coming into lane behind us.
Who is that?
Okay, on the other side of the whole shoreline here, I'm gonna clean here or get all the lights off and all that stuff. Okay, the other side, strobes coming off, landing lights coming off.
3456, you just got a
logo light should have come off a long time ago. I think I can turn off the pitot statics too. We're full stop tonight. Okay, FBO's right here on the right, so just gonna park here.
All right, sorry about that. I mean, I've been on for 6 hours.
Amazing. He's been on for 6 hours.
Hey,
my
you know
God.
what? Just watch.
He sounded
subscribe
like
to my Twitch channel. It'll tell you when I'm going live, and then you can hop on, pick up all the VFR that your little heart can take. Shameless plug. Shameless plug. I'll just leave that there.
There you go. Okay, folks, it's on screen. Check out this controller. He's freaking amazing.
All other radar services.
Also, you can hear what he's been saying about me behind the scenes, right? But I think it was MNM Magic 17. Was that what it was? Hold on a second. I got to get that to you because he was pretty good. MNM Magic 874. Check him out on Twitch. Great controller tonight. M&M Magic 874.
I'm actually going to be on
Twitch.
in the afternoon on Monday, so if you want to come back and fly on Monday, I'll be here starting at 2:30.
I'm going to put that in just as a reminder to myself too.
2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.
That was him. So check him out on Twitch. Give him a follow. He sounds pretty good. We were probably a pain in his backside today, but he was pretty good. Okay, folks, let's shut down here. Climate control coming off. Houston Center just closed. Oh man, that was some great service tonight, don't you think? Great job tonight. Okay, just gonna go to the landing checklist as quickly as I can here. Okay, after landing, speed brakes retracted, flaps up, pitot heat buttons off, ice protection off, radar to standby. Let's just turn off our transponder. You know, actually, this doesn't really matter. By the way, in real life, I can't tell you how many airplanes I've flown, especially in flying clubs. You just leave the transponder in alt and you forget about it. You know, because that way you'll never forget. Especially if you depart like at a busy airport, like like a really busy GR airport, like I fly in real life. You just leave the transponder in alt, more Charlie, or whatever, right? Squawking normal when you shut it down. But I don't know, it kind of depends on whether or not maybe the airport requires you to go into standby before you shut down or whatever. Sometimes some airports don't like the ground clutter appearing, right? So I don't know. Anyway, radars. That's the weather radar to standby technically. Exterior lights as required, and after landing checklist is complete. Let's go ahead and shut down, and we'll call it a night, folks. Or we're not actually going to be finished with the stream. Obviously, we're gonna check out the scenery here at Boca Chica in the Waco right after this. So run stop to stop, and we're shutting down. There we go. Beacon can be turned off. Seat belts can be turned off. Safety light can be turned off, I think. Out of curiosity, so K2 is still on. K2, I'm kind of curious. I've never understood the purpose and the function of the safety light. What is that actually there for? What is that safety light actually there for? Was that Ray? Awesome. Well, welcome, Ray. Thanks for hanging out tonight. All right, we're shut down there. Avionics should have been turned off earlier. And oh boy, this pop-up is ridiculous. Please, Microsoft, stop it. Absolutely. Evidence, thanks for hanging out. I'll try to get to it as quickly as I can. I hope we didn't lose too many people, because I've been going for too long here. Let's go ahead and just shut down for the night. We're shut down the airplane today, so battery master can be turned off. That's it. We're done. All right, folks. We're going to hop in the Waco right now. Just going to sign off Vatsim. Let me do that real quick. Disconnected from Vatsim. And I'm going to hop on multiplayer when I hop in the Waco, folks. So if you want to fly along in multiplayer, you're very, very much welcome. Yes, I totally agree. Thanks for that, Evidence. I think that needs to go. That pop-up is just ridiculous. It needs to go. It definitely needs to go. Okay, while the sim is loading up, what I want to do is I want to show you folks. Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator, because we're going to be talking about this a little bit. And actually, I also want to pull up Google Maps. 1 second, because I want to show you where we're going, where we are in relation to the SpaceX launch facility and all that stuff. So give me a second here to do that. Essentially, for those of you that are on our stream on Sunday, this is more or less going to be overly familiar. You're going to see more or less the same things we saw last time, but that's fine, because we're all here to learn, right? Okay, let's go to or we're all here to maybe correct DJ's horrible mistakes. But let's look for Carenado. By the way, I have to admit, the more I fly this, especially with the most recent patch, the more I like it less and less. Especially as a real-world tailwheel pilot. And again, I'm not like a super experienced tailwheel pilot, but you know, I'm gonna try the trick somebody mentioned of adding some aft weight. So I'm gonna put in the 75 pounds. By the way, in real life, who was it that mentioned this? I think it was Absolutely that mentioned this trick earlier. This is exactly what you would do in real life. Like, so, you know, for my glider club, I actually every once in a while volunteer to tow gliders with the, you know, with the tow plane. And we've got a Piper Pawnee, right? And the Pawnee, with the ag hopper removed, just used for towing, has a CG that is beautifully located. And so the Pawnee barely behaves like a tail dragger. You know, it's got incredibly stable handling for a tailwheel airplane. So this trick could actually work reasonably well. So I want to see whether or not it works, because this kind of balances out the weight a bit better and puts your CG theoretically in a position. I don't think the CG that's here is right. We're not actually outside of CG limits. Couldn't possibly be outside of CG limits. But in real life, you know, I would suspect this would actually help with the stability of the airplane a bit. Now we got to figure out what livery we want to use, right? So, Mr. Plane, how's it going? Mr. Plane, the Waco, yes, exactly, from the marketplace. That's right. Is he really wearing a hat with a prop on top? That is hilarious. That is hilarious if that's the case. Okay, let's go with the Observer Corps livery, since we're technically observing, right? And let's not make sure we spawn in Austin. Let's make sure we show up in, not in Mexico City either. Where's Brownsville? There's Brownsville. Okay. Oh boy. Where? 1 second. I'm totally lost right now. There it is. Down there. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna spawn at South Padre Island. And folks, you know what? We can taxi, that's fine. I'm just gonna go there. Set as departure, and yeah, we're good. Okay. All right, just gonna load up the sim here. As the sim loads up, folks, what I wanted to do, if I can, was I wanted to pull up a couple of things. One is I wanted to pull up Google Maps. The other is I wanted to pull up Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator, just to show you what we're about to show you today. Thanks for that, Mr. Plane. I appreciate it. 1 second, folks. Okay, just gonna pull up my Chrome window. Hopefully y'all can see it. There we go. Okay, so Google Maps first. All right, so so SpaceX obviously has a launch facility right here at Boca Chica. So this is what you see in all the news, right? It's right on this island here. You know, there's a lot of like bays and other kind of watery areas. Like it looks like almost like swampland around here. You know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Louisiana Bayou to an extent, but I'm not sure. You know, it's kind of really interesting terrain around here. But just to show you where we are, we're going to be at Brownsville, South Padre Island International Airport. I'm going to be spawning at this FBO down here, and we're just going to taxi probably to 36 and just take off on 36. And we're going to be flying VFR. So in VFR, like I mentioned in our last stream, right? VFR, we tend to do a lot of following roads and rivers. So we're just going to look for Boca Chica Boulevard, State Route 4, just off the north fence of the airport there. And we're just going to follow State Route 4 all the way up for about 25 miles to the SpaceX launch facility, and we'll see how good this freeware scenery looks. And once we get there, just like last time, tell you what, we'll land on the beach here at Boca Chica Beach, and if folks are still interested, we'll hop into Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator. It will literally take seconds to load. It's so quick loading it up. And we'll check out a couple of simulations of the SN8 launch, and also the Falcon Heavy launch, and the booster, the dual, booster flyback and dual booster landing. So that'll be a ton of fun. So we'll do both of those things before the stream is over today. I'm hoping to keep this, or get this done in the next 20 to 25 minutes if I'm lucky, but we'll see what happens. I'm just not sure this is going to work out that well. All right, I'm going to hop back in the sim here. Just going to bring it to right around sunset. Oh, that's beautiful. And let's change the weather here. Let's go to live weather. The windsock is... Oh boy, what is this? Why is there snow on the ground at Boca Chica? Oh no. Okay, it appeared momentarily and then it went away. And why am I blocking the way out here? It's a really interesting location on the ramp, don't you think? Like, if somebody wanted to get out this way, I'd be right there. Oh, and I forgot to jump on multiplayer. 1 second. Let me do that. One second. Traffic. No, data. 1 second. On. Okay, I'm hopping into multiplayer. I'm on the West US server for anybody that wants to fly along. You're more than welcome to in MSFS multiplayer. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and start up here. So, let's go ahead and turn off the fuel shutoffs. Let's close the fuel, open the fuel valves rather, right? Let's go and get the position lights on, beacon on, and battery master on, alternator on, and let's go ahead and get the stick full back. When you start up a tailwheel airplane, let's disconnect the parking brake for now. Leave the parking brake on, just hold the brakes, I guess. Fuel pump on. Mixture full rich. Let's crack the throttle there a little bit, and let's go max to the boat. Restart position. Oh wow, listen, I love the sound of the radial engine. One thing I gotta tell you, two things that Carenado got right. There's oil pressure, that's good. I'm gonna bump the throttle up there to 1,000 RPM. We'll let the engine warm up. But two things I love about Carenado's modeling work with this airplane is fuel pump off and avionics on. But two things I love is obviously the exterior modeling, the actual modeling work, both the interior and the exterior is just absolutely beautiful. It's such a beautiful airplane. But the second thing I just absolutely can't get enough of is the sounds. Like, listen to the sound of that radial engine. That is just an amazing, rendition of the sound of that radial engine there. I love it. Mr. Plane, yes, I'm just a lowly private pilot, and IRL, I fly planes that are sort of like this for the most part, but don't look anywhere near as good. So I try to fly tailwheel airplanes for the most part in real life, and I'm lucky enough to belong to a flying club that has a lot of those. So I fly, Citabrias and Super Cubs, and every once in a while the tow plane of my glider club, and also fly gliders as well. But I'm just a lowly PPL, and I just flight some for fun every once in a while, and especially in the pandemic, in the era of the COVID-19 pandemic, right, that we're all dealing with, it's a good way to kind of, kill some time at home and also meet some great people, We have a lot of real-world pilots who tune into these streams, including some folks who are CFIs, and I'm sure get a total kick out of the way I keep screwing things up. Both in terms of the actual flying, not to mention the streaming, But you know, we got a nice community here, so this is a great way to kind of kill some time during kind of these days of the COVID-19 pandemic and shelter at home and stay at home stuff, right? Blooms, there's it going. Or there, how's it going, Blooms? There, Blooms is. I was wondering what happened to Blooms because I was missing his voice in chat. Blooms was at Blooms. I have done the barest minimum of backcountry flying. What I want to do, Blooms, is I want to take a mountain flying course, and I want to take a backcountry flying course, and I also want to take a survival training course for pilots. And then what I want to do is eventually I want to buy my own tailwheel airplane, preferably a tailwheel airplane that is capable of backcountry flying. You know, so I'm looking at some used, Cessna 170s, you know, potentially. I'm also looking at some used Super Cubs, but those are like super expensive. Like it's super hard to, you know, there's certain airplanes that are a little easier to get a hold of at certain price ranges, and I just haven't looked in earnest enough. The first thing I want to do is I want to get my training done. So I want to do a mountain flying course. I want to do a backcountry flying course, and I want to mix that up with some survival training for pilots. And when I've done that, then I want to take a serious look at what aircraft to get my hands on. And eventually, my hope is to get a hold of an airplane that's capable of backcountry flying, and just go get lost, you know. By the way, you remember we talked about this a little bit when we did our Grand Tour to Alaska streams way back when last year. Okay, what is the windsock doing? Windsock is pretty much dead, although it's probably preferable to take off in the other direction. So yeah, so I'm gonna take off in the other direction. Oh boy, I locked the tail wheel. The tail wheel kind of, yeah, once it's cocked at an angle, it's super hard to get the airplane to move. That's not normal, by the way. The more I fly this airplane, the more I am not super happy with the modeling work. The flight dynamics modeling, and especially the ground handling work that Carenado has done. Yes, evidence, please. And I'm glad, by the way, evidence, please, that you put that in that order. I'm super glad that you put that in that order. COVID and MSFS and flight pop-up. Yeah, in that order. I agree with that. I'm glad you got your priorities straight. It's kind of rare to see in a flight sim these days, right? I'm glad you got your priorities straight. Blom says mountain flying is absolutely fantastic. You haven't had a chance to do any off-airport landings, though. Bloms, have you only landed on pavement thus far, or have you done any landings on grass or dirt yet? Yeah, and I agree with what Absolutely was saying there about the cost of a Cirrus SR-22. By the way, is anybody flying along? I thought the whole point of me getting in the Waco was because folks wanted to fly along, because if not, I would much rather just go into drone cam and just hop over to Boca Chica than fly this airplane that I'm not super happy with. You've done lots of grass, awesome, Blooms. It's so different. By the way, if folks don't mind, I'm gonna take, oh, there's Absolutely, I think. There's Absolutely in the Waco. There he is. Perfect timing there, Absolutely. Did you see that takeoff? That was a crackerjack takeoff. So speaking of grass versus pavement, for those of you who don't know this, taking off in a tailwheel airplane is so much easier on grass than it is on pavement, because on pavement, the problem is that the wheels grip. And because they grip, it just makes ground handling so much more trickier with a tailwheel airplane on pavement than on grass. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take off in the grass here. And just like I mentioned before, as long as the airport manager is okay with it, which is something your flight instructor will tell you, you're good to go. Now, at a busy airport like this, you would never get permission. but since we're offline, I'm just going to assume it's going to work out. So let's go ahead and get the landing lights on, strobes on, and we'll just take off in the grass here. So South Padre traffic, or Brownsville traffic, Waco, experimental 321 Charlie Alpha. We're taking off runway 17 from Foxtrot in the grass, Brownsville, South Padre. Okay, let's go ahead and get the tail wheel lock on. Actually, I want to straighten the airplane out first. There we go. Move forward just a little bit and make sure the tail wheel completely straightens out. Then we'll get the tail wheel lock on, and let's go ahead and get full power. Okay, full power there. Stick full back until you can feel the control surfaces becoming alive. Gain elevator effectiveness. Then you let the nose come down, weather weighting into the wind there. But it's relatively stable. And gentle movements of the rudder pedals. There's enough airspeed there to get airborne. By the way, usually you want to get airborne as quickly as possible in a tailwheel airplane. And if you need to hold it in ground effect at super low altitude in order to pick up speed, to climb speed, that's perfectly fine. It's much better to get airborne, get into ground effect before you actually, it's much better to do that rather than keeping it on the ground in that danger zone with the tail wheel up at much faster speeds. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn back towards the north end of the field, and we're going to look for the fence. On the other side of the fence, we've got State Route 4, Boca Chica Boulevard. We're just going to follow Boca Chica Boulevard all the way to the SpaceX launch facility. So that's going to be our plan, folks. So we're just going to be doing purely VFR flying here, right? Just the way God intended it. Just the way God and the FAA intended it. Actually, the order there, I believe, as far as the FAA prefers, the order there is just the way FAA and God intended it, right? Because in a battle of wits, in a battle between God and the FAA, you know who always wins? That's right. If you guessed the FAA, you got that right. You got that 100% right. Okay. Guys, Mr. Plane, no worries. It's all good. Thanks for hanging out today, Mr. Plane. No worries. I'm just glad to have company. Folks, just for those of you that are just joining in, that haven't followed my streams or don't know who this DJ Aviator guy is, I'm just an aviation enthusiast who likes hanging out with fellow aviation enthusiasts on streams. I'm not big on the donate button. I'm not big on the super chat button. I'm not big on the subscribe button. I just do this for fun. And if people want to hang out and have fun, that is all that matters to me. So thanks for hanging out today. Hassan Oksan, how's it going? And Hunter Horton, I'm sorry I missed you there, Hunter. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, look at that. We got absolutely aviation there. Hold your position, absolutely. Actually, absolutely. Turn left. You're about to head into Mexico. You're about to get shot down by a surface-to-air missile if you turn back into the U.S. Turn left away from the Rio Grande. That river there, that is the U.S.-Mexico border. But wow, look at that. Just beautiful, right? Especially in the sunrise. But Hunter Horton, sorry I missed you. Thanks for hanging out today. I really do appreciate you hanging out. And I totally agree. The cockpit does look amazing. I got to tell you, I'm a much bigger fan of the Stearman cockpit. I had a friend who owned a Stearman who took me up in one. And so because he's also a CFI, I was able to log a half hour in a Stearman, and that was amazing. I love the layout of the Stearman cockpit way better because it's a lot more period authentic. Obviously, this cockpit is a lot more modern, right? So, whoops, I'm doing a terrible job of formation flying there. I'm gonna stall. I was trying to get in position and I failed miserably there. I'm gonna try and enter formation a bit more carefully. But I like the look of the Stearman cockpit a lot more than the look of the of this cockpit, because this cockpit obviously has a lot more modern instruments, right? I'm gonna see if I can find a picture. Actually, it's on my iPhone. It's on my MacBook on iPhotos, and I can't pull it up on my PC, unfortunately. But I've got some great pictures of the Stearman I flew in. I'm gonna have to bring that up in another stream. But here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna follow State Route 4 below us all the way to the SpaceX launch complex. and we'll check out this fantastic scenery. Then we'll land on the beach, and we'll check out some cool simulations of space launches in the Falcon Heavy and the SN8 in Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator once we land on the beach. That's going to be our late night movie today, folks. Ray, yeah, you can make an argument for that. You know, I do like the way Waco or Waco, oh my god, I can't say Waco, I just can't. What were they thinking with that name? Such a goofy name, but I'm just gonna call it the Waco, okay? Nobody get offended. But I just love the wood paneling there. You see, so it's like a faux leather, pleather, whatever you call it. It's like a faux leather on the ringing, sort of like ringing the center, which is wood paneling. That looks super cool. I do like it. It is cool. I definitely do think it's cool. I just think the Stearman looks cooler. The Stearman is also a lot more. It's also a lot more Spartan, right? Like the interior of a Stearman is what you would expect from a World War II era trainer, right? Actually, even pre-World War II, when you think about it. But the Stearman was, I think, the World War II trainer for like new pilots that joined the U.S. Army Air Forces at the time. And it was super Spartan, right? You don't get all this fancy pleather, wood paneling, all this fancy stuff, you know. You don't get wooden floorboards and all this fancy stuff. It's just pure, you know, that classic kind of green metal look, you know, the metal with a primer on it. That's all you had in the Stearman. And the Stearman that I was in, that my friend owned, was completely unchanged from, you know, it was beautifully restored and maintained just the way it looked back in 1930, whatever it was, or 1943. I think it was somewhere in the early to mid 1940s is when it was actually manufactured. And he did an amazing job of like restoring it and maintaining it just the way it came out of the shop, you know, or it came out of the factory floor way back in the day, which is super cool. Mr. Plain, thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for the kind words, Mr. Plain. Much appreciated. Hassan, no worries. The recording should be available for sure. Thanks for hanging out today, though. Glad to see you hang out. Absolutely, Mr. Plain. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you next time for sure. Hunter Horton says you've only heard people say Waco and well, Hunter. So the city or the town of Waco is pronounced exactly like that. It's pronounced Waco, and I think that's where my understanding is the confusion comes from, because a lot of people assume the aircraft company and the airplane is pronounced the same way as the town or city in Texas of Waco, right? But what I found out, to my absolute horror and bemusement, mostly to my bemusement, like I had, you know, I was doing like a total girlish giggle when I discovered that Waco aircraft are actually pronounced Waco. Like, I was just like, what? Is that really true? That can't possibly be true. Oh, look at Absolutely there, doing an amazing job of formation flying. Oh my god, beautiful red biplane there too. Look at that. Gonna take a screenshot. That's beautiful. Blomes, you're stuck with it. And I expect you, my friend, to honor all the responsibilities that come with being a mod. You know, I'm going to find the paperwork on that, Blomes, but basically it's a 15-page document full of all the rules and bylaws I expect all my mods to follow. So that's coming in the mail, my friend. That's coming in the mail. Along with summons and a couple of lawyers to ensure you sign the document on the dotted line. That's coming. And you thought being a mod on the DJ Aviator stream was easy. There are rules, my friend. There are bylaws. Look at that. That's super cool. Bit of light reading before bed, exactly. Okay, so this is where, for those of you that were on a stream on Sunday, this is where the custom scenery starts. So in real life, right, this is essentially the SpaceX factory, I believe. The high bay, you know, where they actually assemble the starships and the booster is right over there. And this is the actual tracking station. So you see those radar dishes down there? That's part of the tracking station here. And that's not included by default. That's part of this freeware scenery. So what this developer is doing, and you can find the link in the description below for this video to this freeware scenery on flightsim.to, this guy, Tan the man, who's totally the man, he's actually working on modeling the high bay and modeling all the other cool stuff in the scenery. So it's really quite amazing what he's already done. So far he's just got the tracking station here, but eventually he's going to model the high bay and all the other facilities. And by the way, you see that village down there, that little, it looks like, you know, a street with a bunch of houses. That's actually Boca Chica village. So that's the village with, you know, people who actually been living there for years in some cases, right? Decades in some cases. That's the village that they have to evacuate every time they have a launch here. So that was the actual assembly area and the tracking station. And up ahead, I don't know if the eagle-eyed among you can actually spot it already, but there's Starship and Starhopper. And there's the actual launch complex. I think Ray had a typo there, like a little bit of a spell correction with Stargate, but I agree with that. I actually like your description of Stargate there, Ray, because that's very, very apt. That's a very, very apt description of what they're doing here. They are technically assembling a Stargate. Look at that. Oh my god. It just blows me away, the scenery, you know, I gotta tell you. We're gonna land on the beach and we'll hop around here in the drone cam and get a closer look. But look at that. You got all the cars on the other side of Boca Chica Boulevard there. Look at that. And there's the new orbital launch complex that or the orbital launch pad that they're assembling. This is spectacular. Oh, the tracking station is Stargate? Okay, got it. I wasn't familiar with that. I wasn't familiar with that. But that's really cool. It is a beautiful model. And by the way, you can see the individual steel panels. Blom said you've played Kerbal. This looks familiar. That's cool, Bloms. It does look sick. It's really, really amazing. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. As opposed to just me flying around and not giving you very good views, because it's super hard to get good views just flying around. I'm just gonna try and do one more orbit here. We're gonna land on the beach and we're gonna hop into the drone camera and we'll take a look around. And then we'll, while we're looking around, we'll tee up Orbiter, Spaceflight Sim, and we'll do a simulation of an SN8 launch and then a Falcon Heavy launch with a booster flyback. I gotta tell you, I'm so impressed with this. You know, I gotta tell you, I would never have thunk that we could have a freeware community in the flight sim world that would match or even exceed the X-Plane freeware community, but I feel like we're there, quite frankly, with MSFS, you know? Oh, and by the way, people that say the SDK is not ready yet, well, sure, it may not be ready for certain things certain developers don't want to do, or correction, it may not be ready for certain things certain developers want to do, but it's ready for a lot of other things. Let me just put it like that. It's ready for, there's absolutely doing a little aerobatics work there. Okay, let's go ahead and land. It is incredible for sure. Okay, what were the winds? The winds were calm essentially, right? So, tell you what, I'm just gonna land towards the road, south along the beach here. All right. Young Rich King said, "Thunk felt like Shakespeare for a second." Yes, yes, I believe that was a word that Shakespeare often used. Look, I think Young Rich King, if you look up, I assure you of this. I assure you this is true. If you look up the original, my God, what do you call it? Like the original script the original copy of the play for Romeo and Juliet, you will find the word thunk in there. It's there. I promise you. I assure you, it's there. But you got to find the original copy, though. Okay, let's go ahead and land here. We'll try to make this a 3-point landing. So throttle to idle. Just gonna bleed off speed until I can stall it onto the runway or stall it onto the beach here. There's the stall. Oh my God, that was nice. That was nice. I was super happy with that one. Did you hear that? The stall horn went off literally an inch above the ground, and we touched down like butter. You know, perfect 3-point attitude. I just wish my original CFI could have seen that. My tail wheel CFI could have seen that, because he would have cried tears of joy. That was spectacular. Okay, let's go ahead and shut down. We're just gonna leave it on the beach, folks. We're not going back to Boca Chica. Avionics off. My God, okay, that he would not be proud with. That he would not be proud of. I turned off the airplane using the fuel shutoffs instead of the mixture. That was not good. We'll pretend that didn't happen. All electrics off. We'll pretend that didn't happen. Park and brake set. Let's go ahead and hop in the drone cam. Actually, we'll watch. Look at the starship there. Isn't that a beautiful juxtaposition? Like the old and the super space age new, right? Look at that. Isn't that a wonderful juxtaposition? You got starship back there, and you cried instead. There you go. Oh my God, absolutely. Oh yeah, it's got to be amazing flying this with the Bravo throttle unit there. Look at that. Oh my God, I got to get a good screenshot here, because this is a beautiful juxtaposition. I got to zoom in, and I got to get the right angle here. That's a good angle, and the colors match too. Look at that. Don't the colors look almost exactly the same? Oh my God, this looks amazing. Look at that. Oh, I love this. Wow. That looks amazing. Okay, we gotta watch Absolutely land. Did he already land? I think he did. There he is. There's Absolutely just landed. Okay, let's go ahead and hop into the drone cam. 1 second, I just want to get one more screenshot here, folks. From the right angle. Oh, that's so good. That's an amazing screenshot. That's gonna go on Reddit or something. Okay. Let's go over to the launch pad and we'll check it out. So there's the beach right there. I think you have a lot of spotters, right, for these launches, like somewhere further down the beach, closer to South Padre Island there, if I'm not mistaken. For those of you that have questions regarding all the ins and outs and the workings of this area, Ray is the person you want to ask. Ray seems like, they know their stuff regarding everything that goes on with SpaceX in this part of the world. So that's pretty cool. So this is where all the cars park, right? When they take pictures, or even some of the SpaceX employees, when they come out here, they might park around here. So there is Starhopper. I mean, look at this model, right? Just starting with Starhopper, like, you can actually see the individual steel panels that they used to assemble this. Oh, look at that. You got the Absolutely buzzing around in the Waco there. Oh my God. I just love this sim sometimes. I gotta tell you. For all its flaws and all its faults, I just love this sim sometimes. Like, the moments you get with the sim are just like nothing else in flight sim, Okay, let's go take a closer look here. By the way, the individual Raptor engines are actually there, even if they're not modeled that well. So there are the famous Ailerons, right? The flaps that are now been colloquially nicknamed Ailerons. But this looks amazing. Hoppy looks amazing for sure, and I love that. I love that term for it, hoppy. That's beautiful. Let's take a look at the engines. By the way, obviously the launch pad is not modeled that well. There are limitations to what a freeware developer can do, but it's still pretty amazing. 3 Raptors there. Again, not super well modeled. Obviously, you're not always going to get... It's kind of rude to get under a starship skirt and look up at skirt, right? That's not cool. Don't do that, folks, without permission in real life. But besides Starship there and Starhopper, you've also got the tank farm. modeled in amazing detail. I mean, look at this. This is amazing. Do you guys remember the stream on Sunday where we looked at what the autogen was doing? Oh my god, there's absolutely again. You guys remember the stream on Sunday where we looked at what the autogen buildings were doing to kind of mimic the tank farm? It's more or less exactly like that, except now it actually looks like the tank farm. I'm not sure are these the cooling things that are used to chill down the LOX and the liquid methane? I think so, right? By the way, my new favorite term for liquid methane is liquid meth. And this is the point at which DJ Aviator lost his family-friendly rating for all future streams. But you know, these are the Methalox tanks, obviously, for liquid methane and liquid oxygen. It's pretty amazing. Wait, whose car got hit and by what? What happened? What did a car get hit? I missed it if a car got hit. Absolutely, says your autogen. Absolutely. Did you get your... You didn't pick up the freeware mod in all the time you had? Holy cow. The recondenser? Got it. Okay, so that's what these are, right? These are air conditioner type units are the recondensers. Cool. It's super cool. And this is the new orbiter launch pad that they're building, or orbital launch pad that they're building, right? This is pretty amazing. All right, folks, let's camp out here somewhere on campus while the sun continues to come up there. Oh, by the way, there's one thing I wanted to show you here real quick. Where's the moon? There's the moon. Look at the moon there. I just wanted to show you the scenery at night. 1 second. Don't go anywhere. I just wanted to show you the scenery at night. Okay, there we go. It's actually lit up at night. Look at that. Again, it's hard to believe this is freeware, you know? If somebody made this for P3D, as absolutely flies by there, if somebody made this for P3D, they'd be charging like 25 bucks minimum. With guaranteed sim crashes to make your experience just that much more P3D authentic, right? It's unbelievable this is freeware, honestly. It really is. Once again, check out the link, and if you do, you know, pick the scenery up, make sure, if you got a flightsim.to account, make sure to please leave that guy a rating. You know, actually, sorry, I keep saying guy, but whoever the person was that made this, you know, guy, gal, non-binary pal, you know, make sure please to give them a big thank you or at least a 5-star rating, because it's just amazing this is freeware. Okay, I gotta pull up Orbiter, folks, and we'll check out a couple of quick models in Orbiter. John, in order to join us on multiplayer, let me show you that here real quick. You gotta, first of all, in the main menu, John, make sure you've set up all players and multiplayer, and then if you go into this in the main menu and you go to data, you can turn on multiplayer. So you can turn on multiplayer, and then you want to go to the West US server under. So if you go to your username up there, you click on that, that'll give you the option of selecting the server you want to appear on. Orbiter time, yeah, exactly. All right, let me do that here real quick, folks. It is beautiful, Rays, and plus we got the Ray stamp of approval, which trust me, if you've been following this channel and you know all that Ray knows about, seems to know about SpaceX, that is a good stamp of approval to have. That's a really good stamp of approval to have. Okay, I gotta find Orbiter. 1 second. Okay, there we go. There's Orbiter. I just gotta launch it or open up the menu there. Oh my god, look at absolutely just flying circles at low altitudes there. That's pretty impressive, especially considering he doesn't even have the scenery. So he is basing that completely off of where he thinks the camera position is. That's amazing. Yeah, oh yeah, they got animated people walking around too. It's pretty cool. It's really cool for sure. Okay, let me show you Orbiter here. Give me a second. Okay, I gotta go to my desktop capture scene. Okay, so this is the Orbiter launchpad. This is, again, a completely freeware scenery. You can go to this website here, or just Google Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator, and you will find it. It's completely freeware. I just got to warn you, it has a very, very steep learning curve. But you know, if you follow the guides and the documentation, you can get up to speed really, really quickly on not necessarily the intricacies of orbital mechanics, but a lot of the detail you need in order to get up and going. And if you don't want to do all that, there's a lot of mods that are available. You know, just the way you have freeware mods for MSFS or X-Plane 11, Orbiter itself is completely free, and all the mods are completely free. So there's a website that I use called Orbit Hangar Mods, and I'll show you the link in a little bit. But that has the Starship mod, it has the Falcon Heavy mod, all that stuff. I'll show you that in a second. But let's do our hop test here for Starship. And one thing I'm going to do, folks, actually, just give me 1 second. I'm going to go to the Be Right Back screen. I'm just going to, let's go back to desktop capture. Actually, wait a second. Okay, back to desktop capture. So the sim itself is very, very resource non-intensive. Like it has a 3D graphics engine. If you're expecting MSFS level quality in terms of graphics, you're not going to get that. But what it lacks in terms of the graphics engine, it makes up for in terms of the depth of the simulation. Like it's a very, very detailed model of, like, you know, detailed simulation of orbital mechanics, and as much effort as folks have put into the freeware mods, right? So this mod is just a one-off. It's just the SN8. It has an autopilot, but the autopilot only controls the skydive and the landing burn, and it doesn't always execute the landing burn that well. So there's a 50-50 chance the airplane will land and then tip over. But you know what? That's better odds than SN8 and SN9 have actually had, or actually demonstrated, right? So we'll try it anyway. So I'm going to launch, and then I'm actually going to hop into the virtual cockpit of Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator, and I'm going to fly this manually. Steve, thanks, Ray. Great. There's your insider info from watching hours and hours and hours of NASA spaceflight live streams, right? Everyday astronaut
and Houston
live stream.
And Greg, this is Greg. All the joints are limped, and you are go for second phase capture.
Who's Greg?
Okay, copy, go for second stage capture.
Why is he so loud? What is? Okay, that's the. Oh, sorry. This sim, just to let you know, Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator does not have a. It does not have a sound engine by default. You have to download that separately. It's also freeware. You have to download that separately. It's very, very easy to install it. It's click and go. You know, just drag and drop to install it. But the problem is, the ATC chatter that you hear in the sound engine, that is all randomly played from a selection of audio clips. So sometimes you're going to hear stuff that has nothing to do with, like, launching or landing the vehicle that you're launching or landing. So that's why you heard somebody talking about like capturing, like, you know, like something for docking. Anyway, you can see the tri-venting going on there. That's modeled. You've got the little tank venting on the other side as well. That's super cool. So let's go ahead and launch. So I think all I do is go Control plus. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna launch. There we go. Raptor's lit. And I'm gonna hop into the inside here. So the ascent has to be done manually, unfortunately. The ascent is all manual. But it just goes up to 12 kilometers, and there's a bunch of inside views. Like I can see the view from inside the engine skirt, upper flaps, lower flaps, and at some point as we come up on 12 kilometers, we're going to eventually do the landing, you know, or the backflip. There we go. So now we're coming up on the backflip. So the airplane, I'm gonna activate the autopilot here by pressing the B key. There we go. Autopilot is engaged. Now it is going to orient itself for the backflip, skydive, and landing. And I've got to get it an external view. There we go. Okay. I'm going to try and get a good shot here. I did not put the autopilot in the best position here because I was kind of, you know, I put the autopilot in a really bad position actually. So we'll see how well this run goes. Probably not that great is my guess, because right now it's upside down. Oh boy, oh boy. It's upside down. It's upside down. This was my fault, folks. We might have to do this again. I oriented it upside down. But actually, wait, now it's getting back on track. Okay, that's good. 1 second. There we go. That's a better angle.
And Nicole, we'd like to get another glove check from Steve. We
oh my God! Look at this. So the skydive is
better visual on that, and we'd like Al to check his GCM cover.
Is going on right now.
Copy.
And if I go inside, let me go to the forward view here. There we go. Right now, like, look here. We've got range to the target of 5.2 kilometers. It's got the target heading there. We're currently at an altitude of 5.5 kilometers. And the RCS thrusters there are kicking it a bit late. And I think, again, it's because I screwed up on the ascent. So I don't think we're going to make it back to the launch pad. We might have to redo this. There's just no way it's going to make it back. As somebody who flies gliders in real life, I'm looking at the glide angle here. I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's going to make it. It's very, very unlikely it's actually going to make it back to the landing pad. Don't give SN10 any ideas. Yeah, there you go. That was Night Shadow who asked the name of the guy. That's hilarious, Night Shadow. John, were you able to join us on multiplayer? Okay, folks, here's what we're gonna do, okay? We're gonna try that again, because it's not gonna make it back, and it's not gonna be pretty. I'm gonna do a much better job in the ascent this time, okay? And I wanted to do this because I wanted to show you just how quickly it loads up. Just like that. Look at that. It's amazing. If you're used to super long loading times with the MSFS or P3D or God forbid X-Plane 11, this is super quick. Okay, let's launch. Oops. There we go. And this time I'm gonna do a much better job, I promise. Or at least I don't promise anything, but I'm gonna try if I can and do a much better job. Just gonna try. There we go. There's the engine skirt there. That's a good angle right there, hopefully. Almost right over the launch pad. There we go. Autopilot engaged. Okay, so now the spacecraft is taken over, and we'll see if the spacecraft does a much better job on this one. Oh my god, I did it again. I did it again. I put it upside down. Where's that Britney Spears clip when you need it, right? Oops, you know what? You know how it goes. Oh my god, I put it upside down again. Dear god. There's a couple of other scenarios where it just does the skydive and landing, and we'll take a look at that. But it's orienting itself right side up now. I promise you, this mod does a much better job than what I'm showing right now. Go back and watch the stream from Sunday where we did the same thing, and I actually put the autopilot in a much better position on that one. Evidence, please. Yes, there's space shuttles, there's Apollo program era launch vehicles. You know, you can actually recreate the entire Apollo 11 mission, and actually all the Apollo 11 missions. There's a mod called AMSO from a French freeware developer, and that does all the Apollo missions. This looks like a much better chance, actually.
You guys copy?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Eventually it's going to do the landing burn.
You are cleared to land.
Technically that's just ATC chatter, disregard it. Oops, I did it again, exactly. So I had something funny just come back to mind. Are you guys familiar with Honest Trailers? Oh boy. Oh my god, look at that. There's the flip. Gear coming down. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, is it gonna do it? It's teetering, it's teetering. This is starting to look a lot like SN9, actually. Oh my god, is it gonna do it? Is it gonna do it? Sorry, my camera work is not the best. Oh my god. I don't care if it's off the landing pad, I couldn't care less. Oh no. I don't know why the RCS thrusters kicked in at the last minute there, but it's gonna go over. It's gonna tip back. No, that was the autopilot. That was literally, actually, Blomps, I'm not trying to blame the autopilot. That was literally the autopilot. There was actually an autopilot that was doing that, and that was the RCS thrusters that for some reason kicked in. I guess it's trying to give you that full SN8 experience, right? It is called the SN8 mod after all. Okay, let's look at a different view, okay? Do you remember that really cool view that SpaceX had from the landing pad itself? They had a camera on the landing pad, and you could see the rocket coming in from almost directly overhead, skydiving and then doing the flip and burn. We're gonna see that here, so let's go ahead and see that. I think it's skydive 1 if I'm not mistaken. So let's look at that. There it is. So it's hard to see, but it's up there. There's a really faint black, tiny little black speck there that's growing bigger and bigger. That's the skydive, and we're gonna watch it come into land and do the flip and burn here in a second. I'm using like expands terminology here, right? Flip and burn. It's gonna do the landing burn and the reorientation here in a second. Okay, watch. Can you see it? Can you see Starship there? There it is. Oh, there's the burn. There's the flip. Gear lead's being extended. Oh my god. Oh my god. And the landing pad is almost directly beneath us. Blooms, these are scenarios created by modders. So the person that created this mod also created these scenarios, and they coded the autopilot logic and everything. Oh my god, that's super cool. Please don't tip over. Please don't tip over. I don't know why the RCS thrusters kick in after the touchdown. Ah, there we go. There we go. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Alright, folks. That's the SN8 mod. I'm going to show you how to get these mods here once I show you the Falcon Heavy. So the other scenario I wanted to show you was Falcon Heavy, right? There's Steve, who just went right by the window there. But let's do remember the Tesla Roadster launch, the very first Starship Heavy launch that proved out the vehicle? Once again, you see how fast the scenario loads, right? And this actually has sort of like really bad 3D trees, but at least it's there. Okay, I'm gonna hop in the cockpit here, and I want to figure out, okay, V to start the launch autopilot. Okay, so we're gonna start the launch autopilot.
10.
There it goes.
8.
7.
6.
5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And liftoff on Falcon Heavy, carrying Elon Musk's old Tesla Roadster to be discarded in a parking orbit somewhere between Mars and Jupiter. Have fun out there, Starman. Have fun. Godspeed. Okay, anyway, there it goes. Evidence, please. Thanks for hanging out so far, my friend. We'll catch you next time. We'll catch you next time. Okay, I gotta switch to a different view here. Okay, that's a better view. Okay. And somebody created a mod, by the way, that also has... boy, where's... I'm trying to look for a better angle. That's the angle I wanted. So you can see Launch Complex 39A that we just launched from. We got 39B over there. Got the vehicle assembly building over there. Is the autopilot actually... yeah, it's doing what it's supposed to. Space shuttle landing facility over there. And that was the sound barrier being broken, right? Yeah. I don't think we're yet at max Q. John, hey, thanks for hanging out, my friend. We'll catch you next time, John. Thanks for flying along, John. I'm super sorry that we couldn't hop back into the sim to watch you fly around in the pits, but I'm going to rely on Absolutely's verdict there that you were doing a spectacular job just hopping around in the sim. By the way, just to let you all know, I will quite likely be doing a super short stream. Oh boy, we're already at 3 hours and 10 minutes, but if I can, I will do a super short stream tomorrow morning, Pacific time, around 8 or 9 a.m. Like about an hour and a half if I can, where all we are going to do is just the Kai-Tech approach. So we're going to take off at Kai-Tech, We're going to land at Kitech in the PMDG 747, and we're just going to land at Kitech with the IGS-13 under various wind conditions, various times of day, with potentially a typhoon kicking up rain and wind gusts and all that kind of stuff. So we'll just have a bunch of fun just doing challenging approaches tomorrow. All right, at some point, you're going to have booster cutoff, and the boosters are going to separate. And do you guys remember this?
Stage sub confirmed.
They're stage sub confirmed. So you heard the announcer there. Look at that. The boosters are actually doing their retro propulsion burn, and they're flying back to the landing site. That is so cool. And now I'm going to switch to one of the boosters here. 1 second. Ship. I wanted to do Falcon Heavy port. Apply. Yes, please. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is the port booster, right? And it's flying back. Look at that. You can see the Bahamas over there. There's the coast of Florida, obviously. And if you look in the distance, you can see the plume from the other boosters' Merlin engines. Contact heart attack. Yeah, you know, I'm going to see if we can get like some of our good friends from the Hong Kong Arctic to maybe give us some controlling services. But I'm not sure how they're going to handle, you know, traffic that's really just doing repeated landing attempts. We'll see what happens. But anyway, that was the flyback burn. Now you're seeing the aircraft flip, or the boosters flip back or flip around. And you look at that. You see the grid fins extending there? Do you guys see the grid fins extend? And if you watch closely, you can actually see the grid fins move. They will actually move. That's super cool. And once again, just want to mention that all of this is freeware. So whoever coded this is a friggin' steely-eyed missile man, right? I mean, it's just amazing. Really just amazing. February the 6th, 2018 says raise. That's amazing. All right, folks, what did I miss in chat? Blomes is asking, can I actually fly anything myself? Blomes, yes, you can. There's a Delta glider, which is the default aircraft, or the default spacecraft, rather. It's kind of like it's a space shuttle with engines that can be relit after re-entry. That's the best way to put it. So it's basically got a crazy unrealistic amount of fuel, right? Well, it's somewhat realistic, but also somewhat unrealistic. But that is meant to be hand-flown, you know. So it's somebody has an autopilot mod for it, but that is meant to be a hand-flown for the most part. Okay, let me get a better angle here. There we go. There we go. That's a better angle right there. Okay, so you can see both boosters, right? And Blomes, you don't need a degree, although it probably helps to have one. Like I told you, like the learning curve is actually really, really steep for this sim. But, you know, the nice thing is that they do have like pre-packaged, you know, spacecraft like the Delta glider that are very, very easy to get into, you know, or relatively easy to get into. You still have to read the documentation, and you have to have some grasp of orbital mechanics, but there are tutorials that come pre-packaged with the base simulator that actually tell you exactly what is happening during every phase of the tutorial. And I'm going to see if I can show you the loading menu again. He actually breaks up, the guy who made this breaks up the tutorials into individual scenarios, so you don't have to do this tutorial all at once. You know, if you want to go back to the documentation and come back to it later, you know, he actually breaks it up so that you can go through discrete steps like docking, or how to raise your orbit, right? How to change the eccentricity of an orbit, things like that. All that stuff
you are cleared to land.
Provided, or all that stuff has some pretty helpful tutorials. Now, obviously, this had an autopilot, or this was automatically guided in real life, right? So there's no clearance to land. But there's the landing burn there. Look at that. In unison, and you're going to see the landing legs extend in unison as well. Oh my god. It is like reliving, you know, you remember that feeling you got when you saw the Falcon Heavy booster flyback and dual, landing in unison back in 2018. Oh my god, it's just, it's all coming back to me now. But it is freaking cool. It is really freaking cool. Boosters go missed, says Blomes. Exactly. When you think about the challenge of landing, rockets with sea-level engines, it really is amazing. Because, rocket engines are not like turbine engines or jet engines or piston engines. They are not throttleable in the same way you can throttle a jet engine, right? So you only have a certain range of throttleability. So the reason, by the way, they start the landing burn in Starship so late and they got to time it so precisely is because they can't just light the engines and then gently guide it in for a landing, and reducing the throttle until you touch down. You can't do that with the sea-level engines. You have to time it just right so that you can so that you can minimize the impact of the lack of deep throttleability, if you will, right, in those engines. Anyway, it's just so challenging for so many reasons. But just to show you here, Blomes, these are some of the scenarios you have for the tutorials. We're not going to go into it today, obviously, because I just don't have the time, but there's a whole bunch of amazing tutorials that and also there's playbacks. So if you don't want to go through a tutorial, but you want to see the simulator going through all the steps, these playbacks are somebody doing that for you. So that's an option too. And there's, these are the tutorials. So there's a whole bunch of tutorials too. Anyway, just thought that'd be a cool thing to show you folks. So pick up that simulator. Just Google Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator. And there's a whole bunch of all these freeware mods that are linked on that website that you can check out and everything. All right, folks. I'm just very quickly here going to catch up on chat. I'm going to queue up my outro music and get ready to turn in for the night and hopefully think about streaming tomorrow. I'm not sure yet if I can, but I'm going to finish up my credits here as absolutely flies around and provides us some in-flight streaming entertainment here. Orbiter Space, sorry, I'm trying to write my credits here, my outro credits. Spaceflight Simulator and SN8 mod. Okay, great. Alright, great. Got all that. Alright. Let's go ahead and queue up some outro music here. And just going to quickly catch up on chat here before I go, folks. Just trying to see what I missed. Ray says max Q is typically when the vehicle breaks the sound barrier. I mean, it's close, but it's not exactly that, right? Area of maximum dynamic pressure is kind of, it's close, but not exactly that, if I remember correctly. But anyway, it's totally. I agree. Yeah, every time I go through that simulation, I kind of relive the original launch. It's so cool. I got to tell you, SpaceX. One of the things you can't argue with is that they've made spaceflight cool again. They kind of have brought back that same feeling you had during the days of Gemini and Apollo, at least in the public imagination, and that's super cool to see. Can't imagine how many people they're going to inspire, like young people they're going to inspire to get into STEM, and especially engineering and aerospace engineering in particular. And I got to tell you, as a Purdue grad, I am so excited about that. I remember when SpaceX would show up. This was way back when, in the early to mid 2000s. Correction, mid 2000s basically, when I was at school at Purdue. And SpaceX, they were completely unknown back then. They hadn't even succeeded really that well with Falcon. Beyond Falcon 1, they had nothing to take credit for. And, I remember even thinking even back then, it's so cool that they're in the game, of space launches. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my sim settings here a little bit. Okay, let's change the time in the sim a little bit for our outro. And I'm going to queue up some outro music as well. Should we go back to just around sunrise? Yeah, I think we should. Actually, you know what? Let's do a sunset this time. So just before sunset, there it is. Oh yeah. Right there. There we go. Oh my God, Blooms, you don't have to, Blooms, but thank you so much. That's super kind of you, my friend. Far too kind of you. Yeah, hope to catch you tomorrow, Blooms. I'm not sure what time of day it's gonna be. It's gonna be in New Zealand, but thanks so much, Blooms. You didn't really have to, but I always do appreciate it. Anything that's donated just goes towards making the stream better, if I can figure out how to make the stream better. But honestly, there's nothing I can do that isn't made great by all of you folks that tune in and made these streams a fun time. So, Night Shadow, thanks for hanging out. Young Rich King, absolutely, thanks for hanging out. Ray, absolutely. They are world-class sunsets and sunrise for sure. And I hope you got your last fill of absolutely doing these fantastic loop-de-loops around the launch facility here, because I'm going to hop off multiplayer just because I don't want... I love what Absolutely is doing, but I always worry about somebody else hopping into multiplayer during the last shot. No, Blums, thanks for that. I much appreciated. I'll grab myself, or I'll go into the Kona Coffee Fund. How about that? I'll go into the Kona Coffee DJ Aviator Relief Fund. That's what I'll do. That's what that money will go towards. I wanted to turn off multiplayer here, but absolutely, John Ceballos, Kyle, anybody else that flew along today, and Ray as well, who flew VFR with us earlier. Thanks so much. Really do appreciate it. For all those of you that hung out, as always, really do appreciate it. This was super fun, and boy, I gotta tell you, as soon as I saw this freeware scenery, I was like, you know what? I know we visited this on stream on Sunday, but I think it's worth revisiting just because the experience, you know, when you have a fully fleshed out freeware scenery like this, is going to be completely different. And I'm glad to see I was right. You know, it is a completely different stream experience than the one we had on Sunday. So I'm grateful for that. This was fun. Devonch, thanks as well to you for hanging out for sure. Folks, I'm sorry if I missed anybody. Absolutely Aviation, you as well. Thanks so much for hanging out. Anybody else that I missed in chat, thanks so much for hanging out. This was super fun. Really do hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. It's getting late, and I'm sure especially in other time zones in the US where it's got to be getting super late. Blooms, I'm not even sure what time in the morning it is in New Zealand, but thanks for hanging out. Actually, Blooms, it's probably getting late at night for you in New Zealand too, right? But thanks to all of you for hanging out. This was super fun. I am still not 100% committed, folks. I'm sorry, to a stream tomorrow, but I'm hoping to. Back in the old PMDG 747, you know, it shouldn't be that hard to do. It's just a bunch of landings and approaches with a good old IGS 13 at Kitech. So yeah, I'll probably do it tomorrow. I'll try to make that stream short. So hopefully we'll catch some of you then. But y'all take care. Thanks for hanging out. Really do appreciate it. Let me go ahead and cue up some outro music here. So I think we'll go with a little bit of that. Yeah, that sounds good there. Okay. All right, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great night. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to you, depending on where in the world you've tuned in from today. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you tomorrow, hopefully. If you don't see you tomorrow, have a great rest of your week. Have a great one until the next time we catch you. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.